Welcome. Little Fade the Public Friday here on 95.7 The Game. Which way's the world leaning? We're going to lean the other way. 2-0, baby. Official gambling segment here on Damon and Ratto, but it's not officially Damon and Ratto. No, not today. It's not. Larry Krueger back in once again.
Hey. Good to see you, man.
You seriously saved your Maryland shirt for the day before they kick off against Indiana.
Go Terps!
Oh, you're the worst.
Go Terps!
We got a great show today. The Niners are obviously in Atlanta, and between practice punches and everything else going on this week, we really have not talked about this game very much. So today we certainly will, and we got a couple of great guests to sort of talk us through what 49ers Falcons should look like, the way it might play out. Dave Archer, who is a former NFL quarterback and current Falcons color commentator on the radio and friend of Larry Krueger's. He's going to be joining us today at 3:45, so a little bit later on this hour. And then one of our absolute favorites, the man breaking it all down, the best chalk talk available on the internet, Brian Baldinger, will be joining us at 4:15. And I think one of the things we're going to get into with him is that even though the Falcons are a bird, they're not here to fly.
No.
They're there to run. This is a bird that's got its wings clipped, and they are going to run. I saw a couple of trends here on them, Larry, where they're committed to the run about maybe even more than the 49ers are in terms of them being down. They were down 21-0 against Tampa Bay last week, third quarter. Down 21-0 in the second half, they still ran the ball 18 times. I mean, they know that is the only way for them to be in games, to stay in games. They got a defense that they would rather keep off the field. They want to control clock, and if styles make fights, this could actually be a more interesting game for the 49ers just based on two teams wanting to grind it out on the ground, pound each other into sand, and just time of possession. You got both coaches looking to rob clock of the other coach. So styles make fights. These two teams have very similar styles.
Yeah. As Shanahan likes to say, ice bag game. This is an ice bag game.
Yeah.
Because Atlanta's gone for 150-plus on the ground in every game but one this year. And they got two pretty good running backs. Nobody knows the names, but Algier played for BYU.
It's a rookie.
Big power back, 225 pounds, very strong. Caleb Huntley is another really strong 220-pound back, and they're going to run it. They're going to, as you said, they're going to commit to the run. There is no Cordero Patterson. There is no Kyle Pitts. So they're going to run it, and they're going to run it, and they're going to run it. And the Niners don't have Kinlaw, don't have Armstead. They're both ruled out. Bosa's questionable. So they're going to run it largely at the Niners' backup D-line. We'll see how it goes.
It's going to be a big day for your theory that the Niners have two starting defensive lines.
Yeah.
We're going to find out this weekend.
Yeah, we are.
If your theory holds water. I really think it might. I mean, I really do. I am blown away by the depth. But my question is, if you're down 3-4 across that front line, what happens in the fourth quarter when guys start getting tired? If there's one thing that I'm guessing that they are really working on at the Greenbrier all this past week, it's just the conditioning for the reps. I mean, if you're used to about 35 defensive reps, you better get used to about 55 this week. You know, you're going to be in the game, and there's no real chance to take you out of it.
Well, it's going to be about, like, what kind of game is it? Because if the 49ers have a big lead in the second half, we're going to see against Atlanta what we saw last week, which was the 4 defensive end alignment with Charles Omenihu and Drake Jackson basically standing up at defensive tackle, and then the ends playing the ends. So you may see a combination of Ebukam, Bosa if he goes, Drake Jackson, Charles Omenihu, a lot of Kerry Hyder. So we'll see. Atlanta's going to try to run it. They're going to try to stay with the run. But if the 49ers can get up on the scoreboard, then they won't be able to stay with the run. So I think it's going to be one of the more interesting games and a homecoming for Shanahan as well.
And you also have the fact that there's nowhere to go but up in the NFL this week, because last night's game was about as stripped down and ugly as the NFL gets. Now, here's the real power of the NFL. You can watch a game that everyone universally agrees is an absolute dog, and any conversation on social media is about how bad this game is. not a person turned it off. Not a single soul decided, it's so bad I'm walking away. Because it's the only NFL game in town. And that's what Thursday Night Football, really, it's the only thing that Thursday Night Football has going for it these days. And a hell of a broadcasting crew. I think Herb Street's pretty good. Al Michaels is obviously like the king of all NFL broadcasters at this point in his career. Someone was saying, what is Al Michaels doing on these bad games? Why did he leave the premier game that is Sunday Night Football to go to this clown show that is usually a disappointing Thursday Night Football performance? They backed the truck up for this guy.
What do we know what he got?
I don't know, but I hear it's north of $1 million a game.
Oh, I mean, it's got to be huge. And by the way, I love Herb Street on the college game. He sucks on the NFL.
You think?
Yeah, because he doesn't know he doesn't know anything. Like, when it comes down to like when the Niners were there a couple weeks ago, and the conversation went to Brock Purdy, he had all kinds of things to say.
Right, yeah.
He just saw him at Iowa State for 4 years, and he had lots of anecdotes. But when it gets into NFL discussion, he's like a guy passing through with just limited knowledge, where he's like the guy in college.
Right.
Like, I think he's maybe the best on as far as college football color analyst.
Yeah.
He knows the players. He knows the coaches. He knows the recruiting coordinators. He knows the stories of each university and how they did in recruiting. He knows that entire thing, and his knowledge is vast. I just think in the NFL, he's like, I mean, good for him, good for his bank account, but I liked Al more with Collinsworth, and I liked Herb Street more with Fowler.
I'll say this about Kirk Herbstreit. He's good on the rookies because that's the group of players he knows the most about.
Right. Totally. And he's a good guy. I've interviewed him before. Kirk's a good guy, but I just don't like him on the NFL right now. Maybe in 2 years when he knows the league better, but right now he's like a college guy dabbling in the NFL, and it sounds like it.
Bit of a prima donna, actually.
Is he?
Yeah. Anyways.
Well, you probably do know him from Columbus, right?
Yeah. That glorious month we worked together. We're brought to you by BMW Fairfield, opening the Fairfield Auto Mall, the top-rated BMW dealer in the Bay Area. Go find out why. Book a visit at bmwfairfield.com today to again, book your visit. Did you see the news that Bruce Bochy
I did see that just a minute ago.
booked a visit
He's a competitor
with the Texas Rangers? Ken Rosenthal said that Bochy met with the Rangers general manager Chris Young yesterday. Obviously, Texas is looking for its next manager. Bochy with the Rangers. Like, I mean, anything that means Bruce Bochy is back where he wants to be, but man, it feels like he passed up a lot of primo opportunities to wait around to go to one of the baseball's routine underachievers.
You know what? I think more than anything, when it gets to when you're at this point where Boch is at, you want to. It's about who you're working for. It's not about what team, what league, what division, what's your talent level. It's about who's your boss. And Chris Young, I think, isn't Chris Young the former 6'10" righty who used to play for him? I think he pitched for Bruce.
Is he already that high up in the Rangers organization?
I think
he's
it
the
is.
GM already?
I think he is. I think that's the same Chris Young, the big 6'10" Ivy Leaguer who pitched for the Padres once upon a time.
He was an All-Star the year the All-Star game was at Oracle.
It is the same guy. So there's a familiarity there. So, I mean, like, Boch, could work for Sabes. To me, that is the key relationship in baseball, is your GM, or I guess your head of baseball ops now, because now the GM's seriously the assistant GM. Giants, just hired a GM. Nobody knows who he is. They just got rid of their GM who went to Detroit. Nobody knew who he was. The GM name is now kind of like the assistant GM. Now, the old guy who used to be the GM is now the head of baseball ops.
Right.
So that's Farhan.
Right. GM used to mean I run the show. Now it means I'm underneath the guy who really runs the show.
Right, exactly. The GM used to be like the buck stops with me. Now it's like I do all the work for the guy the buck stops for.
Anyways, it'd be impossible to not root for Boch, no matter where he goes, unless, of course, his interests are butting up against yours, Giants fans.
He's a competitor.
So we will see what happens in that story. If it develops, I can tell you we got some interesting developments around playoff baseball today. The Guardians even things up with the Yankees. The Yankees turned into a Little League team for an inning or two there, and we're kicking the ball all around. It is a 6-0 lead for the Phillies over the Braves as that crowd was just going nuts. Half an inning ago, you had Bryce Harper go yard, the second home run of that inning. So it is a drunken Friday afternoon in the city of Philadelphia. That place is roaring right now, and we are just getting underway. It is really good to have everyone here. Again, an awesome football conversation coming up later this hour with Dave Archer, who knows the league as a former player and knows the Falcons as a current broadcaster. Your friend, my friend, our friend, Brian Baldinger. He joins us at 4:15 today, and otherwise it's me, it's Larry. We got a food report. A very important food report to get to today. We will also be fading the public before it's all said and done, and some very interesting gambling trends. Why not? I mean, this isn't even like you're a big gambler, interesting gambling trends, but we're deep enough into the year now where a few things are popping up that even the guy who doesn't bet would think, all right, that's kind of interesting.
Do you wager?
Not much.
I hit a 6-team teaser in college last week.
A 16 or 6-team?
16.
Because 16 means, what are you doing here? You should be a multi-millionaire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You should be in Aruba.
I hit a 16-teamer, and I've got a second home now. And
right.
No, I hit a 6-team, 7.5-point teaser last week in college.
Is there anything better than sitting on that last leg, and you're just like, come on home, baby?
Well, guess what the last leg was? It was Stanford, Oregon State, and I was dead except for Oregon State scored a touchdown on the last play of the game.
Beavers!
At like 11 o'clock at night.
That's a Beaver win.
I'm sitting there as Dave Shaw, my good friends, walking off the field going, take that, Dave. Take that, Beavers.
We got a great one for you this Friday afternoon. It's good to have you here. Damon and Ratto with Larry and for Ray. Again, we are streaming on Twitch, on YouTube. We'll say hi to all you YouTubers and Twitchers and message boarders in just a moment. It'll be like Romper Room. Hello, everybody. Hello, kids. So stick around. All that's happening this Friday afternoon here on 95.7 The Game.
Hey, Becky, what about this beat for your next song?
It's cool, but I'm into faster stuff lately. Like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
Got it. What about this then?
It sounds powerful, just like Xfinity. Because its supersonic Wi-Fi has 3 times the bandwidth, you can connect hundreds of devices at once.
That's what I call power.
Unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Made to do anything so you can do anything.
Get the Xfinity Supersonic Bundle with unlimited gig speed internet, Wi-Fi equipment included, and a free 4K streaming box. All for $50 a month with a 2-year internet rate guarantee and no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/gig, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay. New Gigabit Extra internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes wireless usage. After 24 months, regular rates apply. Requires compatible Xfinity gateway.
Everything, our farm, our stand, our pop-up shop, it really all started when we discovered the benefits of local, raw honey for our family.
And then we decided to turn it into a business.
We were looking for something to help us get up and running.
So we got the Chase Business Complete Banking Account.
It's more than a bank account. It comes with Quick Accept, which lets us take card payments anytime, anywhere in the U.S. using the Chase mobile app. Plus, we get same-day deposits at no extra cost. For us, it's more than honey. It's about sharing a little sweetness with the world.
Get the Chase Business Complete Banking Account with the essentials you need to help get your business going. Learn more at chase.com/business-complete-banking. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Quick Accept is not available in U.S. territories. Enrollment required. Usage subject to approval. Same-day deposits available for payments before 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday to Friday. Fees and rates apply for checking and processing. Limitations and restrictions apply. Participants compensated. Merchant services provided by Payment Tech LLC and WePay Inc. Subsidiaries of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-200-1966. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-200-1966. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-200-1966. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-200-1966. 800-200-1966.
We're all on this planet together, so join Odyssey and find your one thing. Now that it's autumn, check window and door seals for proper insulation and replace your furnace air filter. Join Odyssey, and together, each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. What's your one thing?
Kirby is your driveway mechanic. They bring the shop to you with brake replacements, oil changes, washes, and so much more. Get $50 off your first oil change with code OIL50 at Kirby.com. That's CURBEE.com and use code OIL50.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
Chest up, engage your core, dig
At
deep.
Misty's gym, boot camp gets pretty close to the real thing.
Stack those plates like
She wants to spot a personal trainer with a military background.
I can cover this week's boot camp, but we need someone stat. Isn't your cousin a Marine?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
By now, you know that sound. It's the sound of the Home Depot. But what about those sounds? Those are the sounds of Kraft Ice from a new LG refrigerator, cooling your drink to perfection, making this the sound of savings on top brand appliances. Final days to save up to $1,212 on this exclusive LG kitchen package with Kraft Ice. Ends October 19th at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Offer valid September 29th through October 19th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Anywhere fans go to cheer on their team, there are behind-the-scenes MVPs, ensuring everything is game day ready. We see you, Joe, fixing seats so every fan can enjoy every game. And Allie, who keeps her stadium running smoothly from the moment the first game starts to the last play of the season. At Grainger, you're our MVPs, and we're always here for you with supplies and solutions for every industry and 24/7 customer support. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What's your retirement look like? With Fidelity Income Planning, a dedicated advisor can help you create a flexible income strategy to grow and protect your wealth so you can stop worrying about the future and enjoy whatever comes next. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, member NYSE SIPC.
Now back to Damon and Ratto on 95.7 The Game. Brought to you by BMW Fairfield. Now open in the Fairfield Auto Mall. Visit BMWFairfield.com today to book your visit.
Welcome on back here this Friday afternoon. Damon Bruce, Larry Krueger with you. Let me take out my magnifying glass and see who's out there. Hello, Danker. Hello, James. Hello, Eric.
It's like Romper Room.
Hello, the Shaw.
I see Bobby. I see Kelly. I see Tommy.
I see a guy named Marv Gemini. I see Emmett. Hello, Emmett. And, of course, our king, Otis Bird III, getting it done on the YouTube chat page. You want to weigh in on the Xfinity Mobile text line? Oh, look at this. Duke in the city says he hit a 10-team teaser. Duke, you should have a house in Tahoe by now then. 10-team teaser, man. You put a 20 spot on that, you're cashing huge check. Yeah, I don't know what you put on it, but...
Well, you know what? The teasers aren't bad because Vegas is damn good. So, I've been playing around with the 7.5-point teasers because Vegas is so on the line where if you feel like you got an angle, okay, but, let's be honest. You don't have more info than they do.
No.
So, you're just kind of fading the line a little bit. So, I mean, that last week it worked for me. This week I'm thinking about, I tweeted it out. I'm thinking about doing USC this week. I got less teams. I like Utah against USC.
Fight on, Lucas.
Yeah,
that's going to be
smart side.
That's going to be
I'm nervous.
You should be. That's the biggest game of the year for USC.
Is Utah going to lose back-to-back games? They lost to UCLA last week, but I kind of like teasing Michigan, Bama, Iowa State, Utah this week. So we'll see.
All right. Well, hit the Krueger Show on YouTube to find out.
There you go.
Someone, by the way, there's a guy here on the YouTube chat who wants to know how they can get their hands on a Krueger Show T-shirt. So
you go.
Little commerce to do with Larry Krueger before the day is over. Look, so it was Charles Davis who Ray and I were talking to a couple weeks ago. And we were just talking about broadcasting in the NFL now and how cognizant broadcasters are now allowed to be over subjects that were totally taboo, especially the subject of gambling, right? And we asked Charles Davis if he and I and Eagle would ever be like, this game is, there's still plenty of time left, but it's officially over. All the old
Brent Musburger.
Al Michaels was a huge Boys in the Desert, type of broadcaster. And that was when it was forbidden. Now, even with gambling so prolific, NFL broadcasters are encouraged to stay away from that conversation. Charles Davis let us know. They're like, the league does not want us talking gambling, even though it's in bed with gambling in, monetary ways like never before. But they still don't want it talking. But, of course, when you're Al Michaels, no one tells you what to say. You're Al Michaels. You are the top of the broadcasting food chain, undoubtedly. And if you didn't believe that, he let everybody know last night. Do you know where I'm going here?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so one of the things that Larry and I were talking about, one of the things that I think all shows were talking about, was the ESPN bomb drop on Daniel Snyder that basically said the league hates him. He hates the league to the point where he is so adamant to hold on to the Washington Commanders with his cold, dead hand that he has dossiers specifically on Jerry Jones, but other NFL owners that would bring great shame to the league if he ever went public. And he's basically blackmailing NFL owners, saying,
and Goodell,
you want to come for me? Believe me, I can come right back at you. So that was a big story yesterday. Last night, during Thursday Night Football, the camera cuts to Dan Snyder, and Al Michaels says this.
There was a report today on ESPN alleging that Snyder is accumulating damaging info on other owners and Roger Goodell as leverage to avoid being voted out of the league. R. Michael Smith reporting before the game, Snyder is the subject of 5 different investigations or inquiries for sexual harassment, a toxic work environment, financial irregularities. This has been an ongoing story with the investigations and all of that. And the owners have a meeting scheduled in New York on Tuesday. It is not currently on the agenda. Just my feeling, I think what the league would love is for Snyder to sell the team. Not have to go to a vote, but just sell the team, because it's become a major problem around the league, obviously.
Both barrels just got unloaded by Al Michaels, who Randy Mueller on Twitter pointed out.
Good friend of mine.
Really?
Yeah.
Former NFL Executive of the Year with the 2000 New Orleans Saints, Randy Mueller?
Yeah, was just on the Krueger Show 2 weeks ago.
Look at you, just dropping names like dollar bills. He says Al Michaels is wired at the top of the NFL. And for him to say the league would like for Snyder to sell, that is not a premise. He is delivering a message.
Yep.
So there you go. Somebody told Al Michaels that, a subject that you would normally avoid, you can drive this broadcast straight into it. And he did. Al Michaels just unloaded there. I mean, he wasn't just saying, there's this story in ESPN and then gloss over the details. He put it all out there on Front Street. He really did. So it felt like that was not just Al riffing.
It was fed to him, clearly.
Clearly delivering a message.
Yeah. I mean, just the nature of how serious the topic matter is, you knew that if he was going to comment on it with anything with concrete data, that he could voice it as his quote-unquote opinion, but this is his informed opinion. And since Al Michaels knew he was doing this game with Washington and Chicago, I don't think for a second that his informed opinion did not get informed within the last, let's say, 3 or 4 days.
Exactly. And there's not a coincidence that that story came out on a night where Washington was going to have a stage all to itself. Well, the Bears were there too, but not really. So, it was as someone who's been listening to NFL broadcasts for the better part of his entire life, which is now approaching, year 50, more than it's closer to year 40, for goodness sakes. That is, I think, the single most pointed bit of criticism I've ever heard offered up by a guy doing a national game for any league.
On an owner.
Exactly. On an owner. Players getting criticized, sure.
GMs,
officials,
coaches.
a team specifically, but an owner. That is a road that you never see guys walk down.
Ever. They might as well be the commissioner, because the commissioner technically works for the owners. But yeah, what Dan Snyder threw out there was like he dropped the gauntlet. And you know what? Come for me, I'm coming for you. Oh, really? You want to play super hardball? We'll play super hardball. We'll use everything in our power to color this the way we want to color this, and it's on. So I can't wait to see where this goes. This is like the juiciest NFL story in a while, really, because you don't see owners banished. You don't see them knocked from their perch. Nobody is forced to sell, ever.
Snyder bought the Washington franchise for what, like about $440 million, right? It was almost like what Lacob paid for the Warriors. It's in that neighborhood.
It's probably worth $4 billion right now, right?
Well, and if it's worth $4 billion conceptually on this page of Forbes, the minute you actually put it on the open market, I can promise you, Washington would go for $5.5 to $6 billion, because these are assets that no one's making more of, and there is a global interest in acquiring assets like this. I was talking about
safest investment in the world.
Really is. I mean, it's a huge buy-in price, but there's nowhere to go but up. And I remember when a story in Forbes came about how Jerry Jones, like if he wanted to sell the Dallas Cowboys, could probably get like $7 billion. They're north of 10, Larry.
I've been told $750 million is what Schneider bought the.
$750 million? Okay, so more than like double what Lacob. Okay, well, it's an NFL team at the time.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when Lacob bought the Warriors, he paid the most amount of money ever for an NBA team, but they were no asset with any reputation like Washington had when Daniel Snyder bought them.
Well, they had a bad reputation is what they had.
Exactly. And Washington, who, might have had a mascot that might have been controversial even all the way back then, but not really, because America wasn't that, politically correct about anything in the early 90s when he actually bought the team. That football franchise was, a really big deal. Now, I don't know how of a big deal it was to everyone who was growing up on the West Coast, but on the East Coast, there was no team bigger.
And there
was no team bigger.
And they were that market's biggest team by far.
And that market occupied about 3-4 different states. You know, I mean, it was
exactly
that
whole region. Yes. That whole region was. They weren't Bullets fans or Terps fans or
Capitals fans.
Capitals fans. They may be Capitals fans now, but they were. Everybody was a Washington football team before that Redskins fan.
Yeah, it was a once mighty franchise that, like, literally you can follow the bar graph. Once Daniel Snyder bought it, just a depreciation in every conceivable way, from importance, record, attendance, gate revenue. It went from number 1 to no lower than number 5 in the league in any category to dead last or second to last in every single conceivable category on this guy's watch. You said he spent $750 million, whatever it was, $770, whatever you said it was, at less than $1 billion. He can flip that sucker for $6 right now. Danny, just get out. Just get out. I mean,
stadium's eroding. It's now one of the worst stadiums in the entire league.
Just get out. Go sit on a beach or a yacht. Go buy 5 yachts and bungee cord them all together and spend 1 day a week on each yacht. I mean, like, do whatever you want. You got enough money to buy heaven and earth at that point. Go ahead. I mean, why would you want to be in a club that you were sure of everyone in this club hated you?
Because it's an identity.
But it isn't even that for him anymore. He can't even publicly
identity.
He can't even step in front of a microphone. He won't. He and his wife will not address the media, the public. They speak through a law firm.
I know, but you know what? When you're 60-something or 70-something and you've got, billions of dollars, you're just another rich guy. When you own a team,
right?
You've got an identity. People care about you. You're discussed. You're relevant. So I've never done the deep psychological evaluation of billionaires and multimillionaires, but I got to think that that's a big part of it, right? Because why would you, if you had money? I mean, even Bruce Bochy. What do you think Bruce Bochy's made in his career? What do you think he's got in the bank?
I mean, he's got to be north of 10, 15 million.
He's got kids. He's got grandkids. He's got a Traeger. What is he? What is he? He's got everything anybody could ever want. A great barbecue and grandkids.
But for him,
he's a competitor.
Get a beer.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, why wouldn't you just enjoy your family? What's the average life expectancy? 77, 78? If you're in your late 60s, you got a decade. If you got money in the bank, why would you want some writer asking you a bunch of questions about some middle reliever? Why deal with all this? If you sell, you're just down the road. Nobody cares anymore.
It's one thing to be beloved. It's another thing to be vehemently hated by everyone who works around you, for you, or attends your games. And that's the world that Daniel Snyder lives in. That's the world that John Fisher lives in. John Fisher can step and build the greatest baseball stadium of all time in Howard Terminal. The day he steps on that field to take a bow, universal booing. Universal booing. No one will even be like, well, thank you for finally getting this done. It's like, of course you finally got this done. Too bad you ruined 30 years on the way to finally getting this done.
See, I will wager with you on that one. I think if that day comes, Billy Beane talked earlier this week, like that day's definitely coming. If the A's get a new stadium and John Fisher's out there on opening day, he will get cheered.
Only by the simps.
He should be booed. You and I will be sitting there going, what? What are you people doing? Why are you cheering a guy who basically held your franchise hostage for multiple decades while he's like single-handedly the richest owner in the market and one of the richest owners of a sports franchise in our country and easily could have done all these things and built the stadium himself but leaned on taxpayer dollars? But the people will be so happy. The A's fans will be so happy they have a stadium that they'll give him the golf clap. Oh, John, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for not stripping us of our dignity to the point we're bare naked. Thank you, John. Thank you so much. Seriously, I saw him in a Warriors playoff game. I wanted to walk up to him and throw my drink in his face.
Good thing that you didn't.
You shouldn't even be allowed in any place that's actually having a competition. How can you even claim to appreciate competition?
The amazing thing about John Fisher to me, we don't want to get into a side note on John Fisher, but he was part of the Giants ownership group. He saw the template of what Larry Baer, Peter McGowan, and the other 30 owners did to take the Giants from Candlestick to the biggest real estate deal in the history of the city of San Francisco, which is going to be basically, generational wealth for the next 5 generations of everybody connected to anybody who owns the team. And he still left the Giants, went to the A's, and basically ran it like a dollar store.
So, you said you didn't want to go psychoanalyzing owners, what their motivations were. There's been a ton of psychoanalyzing, Draymond Green, and what his apology was in yesterday's press conference. And we had the sound roll in very late in yesterday's show. We didn't get too much time with it, but we'll get back into it a little bit later on, but let me just say that I've thought about it. I thought about it overnight, and to me, where Draymond kind of got this wrong again is that every single person in this organization who matters stepped to a microphone. This is Steph, this is Steve Kerr, this is Bob Myers, Kevon Looney, who is part of the leadership group. There's no doubt about it. And they said implicitly that Draymond Green needs to work on trust. He needs to work on rebuilding our trust. And Draymond returns from his incredibly short suspension. It didn't take him out of an actual game. Just gave him a few days off during a run-up to an NBA season is really all it did.
Paid, too, right? Paid vacation?
Well, I don't know that. I don't know what they fined him. I don't know what they were allowed to, what the max was. So I don't know what the monetary penalty was.
Is that all stays private?
I don't have the numbers. I've looked for the numbers. I haven't seen them. I have called a couple people. No one's been able to get them.
I'm sure it stays private.
Look, I'm not in the guy's pocket. I really don't care. But after the entire message of the franchise was that how you needed to rebuild trust was job number one, for Draymond to step to a microphone yesterday after practice and have this to say to me, it really missed the mark.
Everyone says, build trust as a team. I don't really quite understand that. What's trust? Is it trust that you're going to make the right play? I think I always make the right play. I mean, to the best of my ability. I don't always make the right play, but to the best of my ability. So is it? What is that? I think, what we do have to do is make sure we're together, make sure we're doing the necessary things that it takes to win a championship, make sure we got each other's back. But I think of so many different things when I hear the word trust that I'm not always certain that is the most fitting word for what people are trying to say. I think it always sounds good and everyone kind of has this idea of what that means. But yet, what does that truly mean? I don't quite know.
What it means is you're not anywhere near the topic that you need to be on right now, Draymond. First of all, why don't you walk up to Steph Curry, Steve Kerr, and Bob Myers and implicitly ask them what they mean by it instead of posing it as a question where you didn't like the word. I mean, it sounds like, seriously, it sounds
Maybe he has.
We don't know that either. It sounds like Ratto sifting through my vocabulary choices to argue with them, to argue about my vocabulary choices more than the actual what it is we're talking about.
I love when he does that.
He loves to police my language. He does. He's a great language police. I'll give it to him. But the thing is, it's like that's not even what we're talking about here, and that is for you to have learned. What were you doing other than pondering the concept of if their request for trust met your definition of what you really thought went wrong? That to me was disrespectful of every talking point that the Warriors had. I'm sorry. I said this. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I said this to Steiny and Guru during a quick face off, and I'm going to say it to you too. Does it even feel like they're defending NBA champions?
Because of this, you mean?
Yeah. Does it even feel like that's the note that this year is going to start off on? Like, raise a banner, get a ring, defend the title. I feel a million miles removed from that now. And maybe that's just me. Maybe you feel differently. Maybe the listeners feel differently. But to me, he has so far moved the starting point to this season to somewhere it never needed to be but for your actions, big boy. This isn't what I was triggered by Jordan Poole. Grow up, suck it up, Buttercup. You claim to be such a tough guy with a great big basketball IQ. Why are you a man baby? To me, I don't understand that. Draymond Green to me is no longer going to be a point of pride or a guy who should be representing the Warriors for anything other than just go play defense. That's it. Go play defense, help facilitate the offense. I'm not interested in another press conference you're going to do. I'm not interested in your podcast. I wasn't in the first place.
I think you're being too harsh on him because I don't think everybody should be judged by the worst, weakest, lowest moment.
No, but he this guy's didn't seem to learn from it, though.
Yeah, but this guy's got a body of work that's damn impressive. And I think that, I'm not saying give him a pass. I'm just saying I will think of that body of work before I think of the right cross that connected with Jordan Poole. But I do agree with you from the standpoint of, you know what? Stop talking. Just stop talking. It's really, but why? Because you can't make it any better. And guess what? You can't talk your way out of it. Not that he's trying, but you can't. And you can't really talk your way. You can't soften it by your words. The only thing that's going to impact this thing long term is long term actions. And that's why talk's cheap. That's why I don't really care what he says, and I don't care what his teammates say, and I don't care what Kerr says, because ultimately we know the deal. It's like it's not our family, but we're close enough to this family to know the dynamics of this family. It's a great player. This is an unbelievably smart player. This is a guy who crosses the line consistently. So don't tell me you're not going to do it. Don't tell me it's not about this and that and whatever. I don't care what it's about. You cross the line and you do it consistently, and that action has to stop.
Right.
And so it doesn't matter what you say. It's all that matters is what you do.
Look, you've been
today, tomorrow, and going forward.
He's
right?
been a great teammate,
but I'm not going to crush him on who he is as a man and all that kind of stuff, because I just feel like this was obviously a bad moment for him, one that he's going to try to get beyond. It should not define him, because he's got a body of work, and his body of work's impressive.
He's a great teammate who helps stuff the trophy case for sure. I would also say he is also been the premier self-saboteur that maybe this franchise has ever had. He's done an awful lot to help them win, and he sabotages them.
He crosses the line.
All the time,
and he's done it before.
The other day, we played Name That Incident. We had like 15 different apologies to sort through. I was playing it, people randomly calling in, trying to guess what apology that came from.
Good. I like that.
And you had people bringing up stuff that we had forgotten about. Like, oh, that was from Snapchatting his wiener. No, that was from punching Steven Adams in the groin. That was, like things that we weren't even thinking of, had forgotten about, because there's such little footnotes compared to the big heaps of trouble he's brought. So
I mean, if he's going to talk on topics, I'd like to hear him talk on why he consistently vaults over the line, because he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
You know it, I know it, we all know it. He's not a guy who's not smart. He's smart. He might be one of the smartest basketball players I've ever seen. But this I'm crossing the line at all times has to end, and I won't believe it's going to end based on anything he says. He's going to have to show me.
We're talking 49ers and Falcons coming up next. We're not going to go drown the Draymond Green rabbit hole again this week, but I just thought about it a little last night, wanted to get it off my chest, and when we come on back, Niners in Atlanta, and a man who is the color commentator for the Falcons, Dave Archer, former NFL quarterback. He joins us next here. Damon and Ratto with Larry in today here on 95.7 The Game. We're brought to you by Fremont Bank, full-service banking, no compromises.
Great cars and great customer experience are what define a great dealership. At BMW of Fairfield, we deliver on both counts. BMW of Fairfield is the top-rated BMW dealership in the Bay Area, according to Google reviews. We love selling the ultimate driving machines, but our success rests on the outstanding experience we provide our customers. It's a better way to buy and own a vehicle. Experience it for yourself at BMW of Fairfield. One price, one person, 1 hour.
First, we decide where we want to go. Then we need to know the best way to get there. Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold. We're the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. We teach people how to own physical gold and silver. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink Award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest #1 national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000. Get the best information, the best process, the best service, the best value. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Consult with your financial advisor before investing.
Do you think all premium fuels are the same? Well, your engine doesn't. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus helps keep your engine running like new because it's engineered to defend against 4 main engine threats: gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. So next time, choose Shell's most advanced fuel ever. It's fuel for thought. In engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline.
As you know, sports teams plan well ahead of the next season. If you're thinking of remodeling your home, consider the same strategy. Talk with your designer or builder now about your next project. Golden State Window and Door has new inventory coming online. Milgard, Anderson, and Marvin. See Golden State Window and Door's wide variety of accessories at convenient showrooms across the Bay Area or goldenstatelumber.com. Since 1954. Golden State. When you succeed, we succeed.
It's the bottom of the ninth, the game's on the line, and your small business needs a loan fast. What's your move? Go to OnDeck.com, America's largest online small business lender. With OnDeck, you can apply in minutes, and if approved, get your funds as soon as the same day. Go to OnDeck.com. Your loan is on deck. Depending on certain loan attributes, your business loan may be issued by OnDeck or Celtic Bank, a Utah Chartered Industrial Bank member FDIC. Limited eligibility for same-day funding. OnDeck does not lend in every state. All loans subject to lender approval.
Listen, could Gregory change your life?
I went from size 44 pants back to the size 38 pants that I had worn when I was in college. Now the 38-inch pants fall off of me. I lost the weight. I felt better. I've lost 63 pounds and 6 inches of pant size. God bless you for having this product and having it at a reasonable price.
Outstanding. Gregory is 70 and lost belly fat and 6 inches off his waist in 5 months. Since 2004, Andro 400 has been helping men like you lose belly fat, gain energy, and improve their lifestyle. We guarantee it. Go to andro400.com for more true testimonials, before and after photos, and special discounts. Only available on andro400.com. andro400.com.
Football season is here. The new Odyssey app lets you stay connected to your NFL team, your station, your shows. Follow your favorite stations and come back again and again. Get real-time updates on everything you care about. Miss your show? Jump back to our awesome rewind feature. The Odyssey app is NFL football. Live and on demand. Wherever you are, whenever you want. And did we mention it's all free? Download the Odyssey app today.
End Zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. A bottle of Gum Out Fuel Injector Cleaner can clean your entire system and help your engine get more MPGs. Right now, you can get 2 bottles for only $7. A great deal to help you go a good deal farther. Find Gum Out Fuel Injector Cleaner and everything you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,200 stores.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
When you can't stop, there's Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub sends powerful medicated Vicks vapors right to the source of your... so you can experience cough relief and breathe easier. Generations of families have trusted Vicks VapoRub to help relieve the worst cold symptoms. So next time you have a cough, reach for the Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub. Cough relieving is believing.
Now back to Damon and Ratto, brought to you by BMW Fairfield on 95.7 The Game.
Welcome to you. It's great to have you here on a Friday. Again, we're getting closer and closer to 49ers and Falcons in Atlanta. And to get us ready for the game this weekend, we're very happy to welcome in Dave Archer, former NFL quarterback and current Falcons color commentator here to 95.7 The Game. Dave, my name's Damon Bruce, and I know that you know Larry Krueger very well. He is filling in for my normal co-host, Ray Ratto, today. So thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. And we were just told that, your normal broadcasting partner couldn't make it to Tampa, so you did double duty last week? Is that true?
I had to try to channel my inner Vin Scully, and it was nowhere near the level of that. But, I had to try to do that. Yeah, we had some travel issues with Wes Durham, who's as good as it gets in the broadcast industry. He was not able to make it, so I had to figure out how to call the game and analyze the game at the same time. So hopefully we didn't turn too many listeners away here in the Atlanta area.
Well, I tell you, that was a game that might have turned a lot of listeners away until the Falcons just kept themselves in it, and they did it by running the football. There's not a lot of teams that commit to a running game and stick with it down 21-0, but they did. And if not for a terrible roughing against Tom Brady, who knows how that game might have ended.
Yeah, I had an opportunity taken away to try to win it. Certainly, there's no guarantees you go down and score, but we certainly had some momentum. The defense provided the opportunities. They had 3 consecutive 3-and-outs, which allowed Arthur to continue to run the football. We were able to begin to wear them down up front and figured out some of the things they were doing with their 8-man front, and ultimately put 2 touchdowns on the board and a 2-point conversion. You look up, it's from 21-0 to 6-point lead, and Grady looked like he had done what he'd done the 2 weeks prior. He'd had to come up with a big sack at the end of the football game that had provided an opportunity for Atlanta to win the game, or certainly be in position to win the game, but that was taken off the board, as was the opportunity. So, yeah, there's a lot of smarting people here in Atlanta right now.
Dave, good to hear your voice. It's been a long time. I mean, I don't know if you even remember me back in the day.
Larry, what are you kidding me? Absolutely.
The late Bill Urbanek used to call me F.U. Larry.
Bill said that about a lot of people.
He did. But those are good days. I was the grad assistant quality control defensive coach for K. Stevenson. And, I mean, there were some NFL guys there. David Diaz-Infante, yourself, Mike Oliphant, Mike Kiselak. Good memories. And you had been with the Sacramento Surge and were like the World Bowl MVP one of those years, and then stuck around and dabbled into the American expansion of the CFL in 93, 94, and then the team moved to San Antonio and you went with them. Then you finished up with Ottawa and Edmonton. What was your memories of your CFL days? Because I remember Kay Stevenson we used to sit around those meetings and talk players, and I can remember Kay saying, "Man, I love Archer. He's got a big arm and he's a tremendous leader." What were your memories of those days?
Yeah, and good to talk to you, Larry. It's fun to think back to some of that stuff. But the beauty of it was I was coming into a place where they wanted to throw it, right? And when you get in the Canadian League with just 3 downs, you've got 2 to get a first down. So you're going to get a chance to chuck the football, and I got a chance to do that. And we had some good people around me to go catch the football, and that was a lot of fun to do that. And I think it was just a bunch of guys that were looking to play the game. I remember I got a chance to play early in my career in the National Football League here in Atlanta. And then sometimes different philosophies lend a different mindset. And so I ended up being in a backup role, and I got to thinking, why did I get in the game? I got in the game to play it. And so I had an opportunity there in Canada, and we had some fun. We put some points on the board, rang up some numbers, and had a good time.
No question. Kerwin Bell was your backup, and great memories. Good to hear from you. And now you've been doing the Falcons with West Durham for years. Huh? How did you fall into that gig? Now your family's always been there in Atlanta since you started with the Falcons in the 80s?
Yeah, had a chance to stay here, bought a home here in Atlanta. I did play in some other cities, as you just talked about, certainly some in Canada as well, but always kept my home here in Atlanta. And when I got an opportunity to get back into broadcasting, started at the college level, started doing some college games here in the South, the SEC and the ACC, and then had an opportunity to audition about 19 years ago or 20 years ago for the Falcon gig, and evidently they liked the way it sounded, and fortunately I've been able to fool them for the last 20 years, and I've been able to stick around. So, yeah, it's been fun.
Dave, you're a good man, and let's talk a little bit about the Falcon team that you're watching this year. Give me your thoughts on young Marcus Mariota. I mean, he had a little competition with Desmond Ridder in camp. He won the job. What's Mariota looking like to you?
Yeah, it's been fun to watch. He's a good dude, first of all. He's a good person, good man, good teammate. But that's got to translate to the field, right? You got to put some performances together. He had some good early performances in Tennessee. In fact, his second year in Tennessee, he was solid. He came out as one of the top picks of the draft, and he played that way in his second year, and then got a little bit winged, and then maybe lost some of his confidence, and ultimately Tannehill took his gig, and then he's been the backup of the Raiders 2 years previous to coming here, and so not a lot of game tape on him, not a lot of play time the last couple of years, and maybe just kind of getting his mind right. Well, he came in here and really did a nice job in camp. He's been a really good leader for the team. He's got a really good feel for what Arthur wants to do because he did play under Arthur Smith in Tennessee, so he has an opportunity and an idea of what he wants to do from the run game standpoint. He's a big part of the run game. The 49ers will have to defend against him as much as they'll have to defend against Tyler Algier and Caleb Huntley, the two guys that will be the featured runners in the game Sunday. Mariota's a problem when you come out the backside, and he's a guy that creates some of those running lanes because you are having to stay wide defensively to make sure you defend against bootleg and or quarterback keep. They've got some zone read stuff in. They've got some RPO stuff that's been successful for them. The key is not to turn the ball over. They got to be cleaner, play a little bit cleaner. There hadn't been a lot of explosive plays. Missing Kyle Pitts last week was a problem. Cordero Patterson's been out for the last couple of weeks, and he will be out for the next couple of weeks with a little bit of a knee thing. So they're leaning on some young dudes, and Mariota is a big part of them having a chance to win. And he's played some winning football for them so far.
Dave Archer joining us here on 95.7 The Game, color commentator, part-time play-by-play guy for the for the Atlanta Falcons. Nice enough to join us. So, I mean, as I'm trying to handicap the Falcons, because, look, I honestly don't pay as close attention to them as I do other out-of-market teams, and I really only look at them in the vacuum of how the Niners go about dealing with them. And I would say that Atlanta, and you tell me if this is I'm taking one walk around the car here and telling you what I think it's worth. They're rebuilding with oomph. Is that a good way to say it? That they're not a fully formed team. They got their blind spots. They're not who they want to be defensively. They don't throw the ball the way they want to, but they control the line of scrimmage. And for a team that really shouldn't even have an identity, they definitely do have one. It's a rebuild, but with some oomph.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. I think that it began with the mentality of shifting gears from being a finesse team, throwing the football, kind of playing defense that way too, not really rushing the passer that well, but maybe running to the football and getting guys on the ground. But that finesse part of it with Matt Ryan here, throwing the ball over the yard, has changed, and that mentality has changed to a little bit more of a roughneck scenario where you're going to get after people physically, both on the offensive and defensive side. You're willing to hit people. You're going to play for 4 quarters. All that never say die mentality. That was a shift of gears. That's not what this team has been over the years that Ryan was here. They were much more built on making big plays and kind of the splash stuff. This has been a little bit more nuts and bolts, a little bit more brick and mortar attached to this one, and it is still building. They don't have all the pieces here. Offensive line still a little bit of a makeshift operation up front. Is Mariota the answer, or are they going to have to put Ritter in at some point, or is there another quarterback in their future? That's still in the offing as well. Drake London's a nice piece. The kid they drafted at USC has been very good here in the first 5 weeks of the season. Kyle Pitts had 1,000 yards last year, the big tight end. He's a little banged up right now. I'm not sure he goes on Sunday. But they've got some pieces, but it's, again, like you said, you're putting the puzzle together, and it's not quite there. And they've got some chip-on-the-shoulder type guys that, for whatever reason, it didn't work out in their previous stop, whether it's Lorenzo Carter, who was the number 1 pick for the Giants, or Rashaan Evans, who was the number 1 pick for Tennessee at linebacker. Those guys are here. They're young guys at 26 years old, but were they a reach in the draft, or do they have something left to prove? And they're hoping that it's the latter. And to a certain extent, that's been the case so far. That's the mentality they're playing with.
The game of musical chairs that the 49ers have gone through at quarterback was dominating all headlines out here. Now the music has ended. It's Jimmy Garoppolo. For whatever reason, he's played very, very well as a former NFL quarterback. I'd love your opinion about the Niners' current NFL quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, a man they just cannot get away from. And for very good reason this year. He's been good for them so far. And this is a little bit of a return to Atlanta for Kyle Shanahan. What do you think of him as a play caller?
Yeah, I think we got a lot of respect for Kyle, obviously, here. Save a few moments late in Super Bowl 51. I thought he was pretty good throughout his tenure here. And certainly we had one of the best offenses in the league with Ryan and a couple of young running backs and a dynamic set of receivers. And so he had a lot of pieces to play with. Maybe more pieces than he has necessarily to play with in San Francisco. But certainly Kittle is a guy that everybody would like to have on their team, and Deebo Samuel's another guy you'd like to have. And they create flexibility in what you can do from a play call standpoint. It all starts with his group up front. I think he's kind of mixed and matched with his offensive line. And sometimes the quarterback draws the ire of the fan, and maybe there's a few other pieces that aren't quite in place where he's trying to cover up some of those things. I think Jimmy's been pretty good. You don't just happenstance your way to a Super Bowl, and I know they have a really good defense and there's guys around him and stuff, but he had to make a lot of plays to make that happen a few years ago. The thing I think he's continuing to grow with is to try to take care of the ball. That's really been his bugaboo is kind of that weird turnover late in a football game. He seems to have begun to try to figure that out. I think all quarterbacks go through something like that. Marcus Mariota is going through some of that here, to not turn the ball over late in a football game that puts you in a bad spot. We've had a couple of those. We've survived a couple, and we've lost because one. So that's all part of what playing quarterback is all about, is can you make sure that you make the guys around you better, but don't cost your team a game late in a football game. That's a fine line to walk. Are you trying to win it, or are you trying not to lose it? And so a lot of times those can create the opportunity to make a mistake. So Jimmy's played pretty clean from what I can tell, and the little tape that I've watched of the Niners. They're just a rough physical group, and the game within the game is, can we move it offensively against them, and make sure that we're not on the field defensively for 35 or 40 minutes of the game, because if we are, then San Francisco grinds you into dust.
Dave, let's flip the card and talk a little bit about the defense. Dean Pease is the coordinator. He's been around forever. They got big Grady Jarrett up front. I like what I'm seeing out of Taquan Graham, the kid from Texas. And Pease is very multiple with his blitz packages. He'll definitely throw in some wrinkles that confuse you. And AJ Terrell on the back end is a pretty damn good corner. And I think he travels, from side to side with, he's matched up on Mike Evans most of the time last week. What can you tell us about the Falcons on the defense? Give us your impressions. You're watching them every week.
Yeah, I think they're a scrappy group. I think that you're exactly right. Your assessment of what Dean's trying to do. He's trying to find pass rush. They drafted two kids. Arnold Ebiketie out of Penn State has shown some flashes, his ability to get to the passer. He had a pretty good year his senior year at Penn State after transferring in from Temple. I think he had right around 9.5, 10 sacks there. They drafted a young kid that's pretty interesting, in D'Angelo Malone, who was out of Western Kentucky, who just racked up the sack after sack. I think he had 34 career sacks as a hilltopper, but he has yet to get to the quarterback yet, but he's got great speed and bend off of the edge. But still, again, like we talked about before, it's a developing process that they're trying to get. They'll play as many as 5 linebackers on the field at the same time. Their draft pick out of Montana State, Troy Anderson, ran 4.4 at the combine, big kid, about 240 pounds, can run and hit. They're trying to get him up to speed so he learns what the NFL is all about. So there's those kind of things are going on. But AJ's a good player in the corner spot. They got 2 good young safeties, and Jalen Hawkins, a West Coast kid from out there in Cal, and Richie Grant, a kid from UCF. 2 young safeties that are in their second and third years, and those 2 guys are playing pretty good. And then you got the venerable one in Casey Hayward. You guys know about him out on the West Coast. Casey played some good football there down in San Diego with the Chargers and with the Raiders. So he's a guy that has kind of stabilized that group from a leadership standpoint. But they're just kind of playing bend, don't break defense. They've been really good in the red zone. That was what they were yesterday or last weekend. Their defense in the red zone was outstanding. So that's what they're going to have to continue. They have to play clean, though. There's not a lot of explosives. They're not Grady's the guy that makes the play to get to the quarterback. If he doesn't get home, there haven't been a lot of sacks from this team, unlike what the 49ers have going. So it has to be clean. No turnovers. Can't have a lot of penalties. Put yourself in third and long situations, because that puts them in a bad spot and backs them up.
Real quick, we got to pause for a 4 o'clock hour station identification. Welcome to 4 o'clock.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app. Damn well better be free.
Now, Dave, I might have buried the entire headline here, because in the name of look good, feel good, play good, Falcons are busting out the red helmets. How many points is that worth?
Oh, it's a 9 out of 10. If it's not a 10 out of 10, it's the helmet I wore. They don't have the red jersey though, but they're going the black jersey, the 66 uniform or whatever it is. But the red helmet is aces, man. You guys you're gonna love the way it looks. They'll wear it twice this year. Just so happens we get to wear it against the 49ers, our former NFC West rival. We used to play the 49ers twice a year, and so probably a good team to break it out against.
Atlanta, that great West Coast town.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Dave, for joining us. It was great to hear you walk down memory lane with Larry. It was a real pleasure to meet you. And hopefully you're just doing one of the broadcasting duties this week, and Wes will be able to make it to Mercedes-Benz lickety-split.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay this time. Thanks for having me, guys. Larry, great talking to you, buddy.
Hey, take care, Arch.
Dave Archer, former Falcons quarterback. Like you said, he'd been around the world of football for a while, and he can do it all. He's a one-stop shopping for all your broadcasting needs.
You know what I love the most about these secondary leagues, CFL, American Expansion, whatever it is, World League, the guys who play in those leagues, Damon, love to play. Right, because the money's not the NFL money.
It ain't glamour. It's not going to make you famous.
Exactly. You're playing for the Hamilton Ticats. You're not necessarily. It's not like playing for the 49ers.
The Hamilton Ticats.
That's right.
Woo. Yeah, but look, this is going to be a probably more interesting football game than you might be handicapping it to be. The 49ers are a huge contributor to Atlanta looking better than I think they normally would. The Niners are down 8 starters in this game. They're going to be down 8 starters in this game. When you look at who's not playing, it's basically a laundry list of who you'd like to see playing. Eric Armstead, out. Javon Kinlaw, out. Mosley, he's not even coming back now. We know that. Jimmy Ward just got back, instantly out again. Trent Williams, out. We'll be waiting game day announcements on 3 guys that are listed as questionable right now. Nick Bosa with the groin. Man, I would not be rushing him back into action. Aaron Banks has got a knee problem. Tyler Kroft has got a knee problem. So 3 important questionables. 5 guys certainly out of this game. And that's not even counting like some of the other early seasons. Exactly. That's not the early season injured list guys.
Jimmy Ward. Yeah, and also, Damon, this Falcon team goes with the base offense, right? So they don't put 3 wide receivers on the field very much. I think it's like 28% 3 wides, so they don't use 3 wides. That means Oren Burks is going to probably play significant snaps on defense in the base, filling in for Al-Shaair. He played a lot last week. He's going to be asked to do a lot this week. And can they wrap up? Can they wrap up on these bigger backs? You know, they got 2 big physical backs who are going to try to run over them. Can they be physical without Kinlaw and without Armstead in the middle and with no Aziz? So it's going to be a head knocker. And I think this 49ers have a lot more speed and it's a fast surface. So I usually like the fast team on the fast surface, but the Niners are dinged up and this Falcons team has covered every game this season against the number.
The only team in football that has done that so far. Also, the biggest weak point, the pressure point that you would want to push the most is asking Jimmy Garoppolo to maybe do just a little bit too much. Against the pass, the Falcons are incredibly vulnerable. They're 30th in the NFL in passing yards per game. They don't throw the ball very well. They don't stop you from throwing it very well. So it's set up to be a Jimmy Garoppolo game if Kyle wants to start playing against the Atlanta weak point. If he wants to get bullish about matching Atlanta's running game with his running prowess, yeah, this is slobber knocker. This is both teams putting 8-9 guys in the box and just daring the other team to throw, and then the other team didn't take that dare. If that what happens, you're right. It's going to be an ice bag game for sure. The fact that Jimmy Garoppolo is playing so well going into this is making me think just maybe Kyle's going to take the restrictor plate off of him just a little bit more this week. Plus, there might be a, let me show you what you missed, Falcons fans from Shanahan, who I think maybe his ego's going to want him to put on a little bit of a show in that building, because he used to call Atlanta home. I don't know.
Also, don't forget that teams sometimes when if the game gets out of hand in the 49ers' favor, we don't expect it to go the other way, right? But if the 49ers can get a significant lead, you may see things that you're not expecting to see because Kyle may want to put some things on tape for Kansas City next week and show some looks and change their some of their percentages on what they do in certain situations. So, you get some big games coming up, right? Kansas City, Rams, Tampa, you get some very challenging games. Niners have to get this one. And this is going to be a very physical game against a very physical. This might be the best offensive line they've faced all year.
Chiefs coming up next week. That's a monster. And there's talk that game might be the first game flexed out of an afternoon into the evening for Sunday Night Football. So
that'll be cool.
Go ahead and wait around for that news and keep an eye on it, because it is a possibility. I believe that next week is the first week that the NFL can start flexing games in their schedule. So if the Chiefs beat the Bills, and what a game that's going to be at Arrowhead, for the first time ever, Patrick Mahomes is going to be a home dog.
I saw that.
Against the Buffalo Bills. If the Chiefs win that game and the 49ers handle their business in Atlanta, we all know who the beauty queen is on next week's schedule. And again, she might appear in the evening rather than in the afternoon. So something to keep an eye on, especially if you got tickets to the game and you plan on going. You're going to want to know when it's actually going to start. When we come on back, we're staying right down the road of football with a man who draws the map of how things happen better than anybody else. Brian Baldinger, his Twitter breakdowns of the league are just, it's where you become a smarter, better football fan. And we will all become smarter, better football fans with Brian Baldinger, who's going to join us next. And oh, by the way, his broadcasting assignment has him in Kansas City ahead of Bills and Chiefs. So we'll talk to him a little bit about that at the end. An awful lot of 49ers and Falcons with Brian Baldinger coming up next here. It's Damon and Ratto, but with Larry Krueger in today here on 95.7 The Game. We are brought to you by Lucky California.
At Lucky California, every day is full of fresh possibilities. Try their USDA Choice Beef. It's deliciously tender and marbled for flavor. This week, Choice Beef New York Steak, bone-in, is just $5.99 per pound in the Max Pack. Lucky California. Come see what's fresh.
1, 2, 3, the red and gold have found their recipe for success.
Mayfield is brought down at the 21-yard line. Ofunga. It's a sack for the San Francisco team.
And the Niners ground and pound the Atlanta Falcons.
San Francisco has run away with this one.
The best 49ers coverage is right here.
That's crazy.
On 95.7 The Game.
This is your time to cash in at Cash Creek Casino Resort. To rock and to roll. Over the hills and bluffs. Go all out or go all in. With 4 stars and rising stars. Now we do more than ever, so you can do as much or as little as you want. It's your time to cash in at Cash Creek Casino Resort.
Everything, our farm, our stand, our pop-up shop, it really all started when we discovered the benefits of local, raw honey for our family.
And then we decided to turn it into a business.
We were looking for something to help us get up and running.
So we got the Chase Business Complete Banking Account.
It's more than a bank account. It comes with Quick Accept, which lets us take card payments anytime, anywhere in the U.S. using the Chase mobile app. Plus, we get same-day deposits at no extra cost. For us, it's more than honey. It's about sharing a little sweetness with the world.
Get the Chase Business Complete Banking Account with the essentials you need to help get your business going. Learn more at chase.com/business-complete-banking. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Quick Accept is not available in U.S. territories. Enrollment required. Usage subject to approval. Same-day deposits available for payments before 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Sunday to Friday. Fees and rates apply for checking and processing. Limitations and restrictions apply. Participants compensated. Merchant services provided by Payment Tech LLC and WePay Inc. Subsidiaries of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
O'Reilly Auto Parts specializes in keeping your car on the road. Not sure how much life is left in your battery? Our professional parts people will test it for free. If it does need to be replaced, we'll help you find just the right one to fit your car. Our Superstart batteries are built to handle even the toughest conditions. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
California, you deserve more. And with United Healthcare, you'll get more. Annual enrollment is October 15th through December 7th. So call United Healthcare today. With the United Healthcare Medicare Advantage Plan, you get more from your Medicare dollar, now including better than ever dental, vision, over-the-counter, and prescription drug coverage. Call United Healthcare at 1-888-CALL-UHC today and speak with a licensed sales agent. Benefits, features, and/or devices vary by plan and area. Limitations and exclusions apply.
Hi, this is George with Left Coast Buyers. We buy properties all over California. If you own a house or an apartment building and want to sell it fast at a great price, call us at 925-434-5000. We can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. We buy properties in any condition, any price range, and can help you in any situation. Do you own a property that is run down and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Are you out of time, money, and energy? Let us help. Are you looking for an easy way to get top dollar for your property and sell on your terms and timeline? Well, call Left Coast Buyers now at 925-434-5000. We can solve any problem. We buy divorce houses, inherited houses. We even buy vacant houses and abandoned houses. Do you have a tenant who hasn't paid rent? Are you behind on property taxes, mortgage payments, or even facing a foreclosure? Even if you're just nervous about capital gains or an upcoming recession, we've seen it all. So if you or someone you know owns a property and needs to sell, call Left Coast Buyers at 925-434-5000. That's 925-434-5000.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world. Turning to the best in the business for websites, go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
In Daly City, overnight overcast, lows mid-50s.
Weather brought to you by one thing. Improve your gas mileage by properly inflating tires and taking your car in for a tune-up. Join Odyssey, and together, each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow.
Now back to Damon and Ratto, brought to you by BMW Fairfield on 95.7 The Game.
So no Ratto today. We got Larry Krueger in this afternoon, and boy, we're always happy to welcome back the one and only Brian Baldinger to join us here, the man who makes football fans smarter on Twitter and on the radio as well. Baldy, how are you, pal? It's good to see you, and you're even joining us on the Zoom. This is special.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, it's technology here, Damon. Larry, it's good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Good to be with you. It's Football Friday. I'm here at home in New Jersey right now. I'm heading to Kansas City in the morning. But the local high school team is playing. I can hear the band. There must be a 7:30 kickoff. I can hear the band like inside my house here, man. It's Friday Night Lights. It's fun.
I love a high school band. I got a high school band that I can hear from my backyard, and I love the sound of football in the distance. I love the smell of napalm in the morning. I really, I do. Baldy, you are heading to, the prettiest girl in the room is that Buffalo Kansas City game, and we'll get there. But obviously, we want to have you on to talk about the 49ers in Atlanta. And if styles make fights, you're talking about two of the most run on first, second, and third down football teams there are in the NFL right now.
You know, it's interesting because, last week, obviously everybody saw the roughing the passer penalty by Grady Jarrett on Tom Brady with just under 4 minutes to go that would have gotten the Falcons off the field. But, they were down 21-0 in that game. And they came back in the game basically running the ball. And they were running it with two rookies, Caleb Huntley, a local kid, and Tyler Algier, who's a rookie out of BYU. And they were running it like right at the Bucs with Vita Vea and the whole group there. And they didn't shy away from it. And they were really good at it. They had a number of big runs. Mariota had a big run. You have to always account for him. He's still fast. He's still elusive. So, they can run it. Their best back, Cordero Patterson, won't play, But these two young guys are pretty good, though. So I wouldn't sleep on that at all.
It's funny, you talk to a quarterback, Baldy, if they love a receiver, they'll say, man, he'll go get it for you. He'll go get it for you. Because there's a lot of 50-50 balls, and you got to have trust in your guys. Talk to me about Drake London, because I loved him at SC. Didn't love him in the draft process, Baldy, because when I watched all the film, I didn't see any separation, and I was a little worried about the foot speed against NFL corners, and he still doesn't get a ton of separation. But, man, in the red zone, you can post him up. He's got great ball skills. What do you see with London?
I see, he's the first receiver taken, and, he came off an injury, but he looks good. He caught a number of passes last week. I don't think they use him enough. His length is, it's Mike Evans. He's Mike Evans without maybe the top flight speed that Mike has, but that's kind of what he reminds you of. I mean, he's just a big frame. He's got a big wingspan. He'll go down to the shoelaces and grab it. I mean, he's just a really good athlete. Comes out of his breaks very smooth in what he does. And so he wears number 5. Pretty easy to find him on the field. Kyle Pitts wears number 8. He'll be out there this weekend after not playing last week. I mean, it's not the Warriors front line, but they're a basketball front line, with NFL receivers.
Brian, so Kyle Pitts, you say he is going to be back out there this week. I'd say that he and George Kittle share a couple of traits. Supreme athletes, hard to cover, yet somehow underutilized in their own passing games. How come Kittle and how come Pitts aren't targeted the way that the Chiefs go out, hunting Travis Kelce?
Well, I mean, Travis is just a different beast. They call play after play after play for him. And then when things do break down, he's the first guy that Mahomes looks for. He's just different than everybody else. For George, I mean, he caught 5 passes in the first half all last week. I don't think he was targeted. He might not even been targeted in the second half.
He wasn't.
So it was good to see him at least involved in the first half. He's such a good blocker that they use him primarily to do that first and receive second. And for Kyle Pitts, I can't figure it out. I really can't. Even last year, I remember watching him in his first game last year. And in the red zone, he wasn't even on the field. And I thought this is the most bizarre thing ever. I mean, every single analyst that looked at him said, this is going to be the ultimate red zone threat. And he wasn't even on the field. And I never really talked to Arthur about it, but I did mention it on Twitter and some other places, like this can't happen. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on and why they shy away from him. And sometimes he looks invisible, even though you can't take your eyes off him because of the way that he moves.
Baldy, the guy I can't take my eyes off of is Greenlaw for the Niners. It's just like, we talk about Bosa, we talk about Hufanga, Jimmy Ward. I mean, to me, Greenlaw is the best player on this defense. He is flying everywhere. He loves collisions. He can detonate on the running back. He attacks the mesh point. He's doing things in coverage. You can't really fool him. What are you seeing with Greenlaw? Because his production the last, this guy's like 30 tackles in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. 57 is everywhere. But he also embodies just the way this whole defense is playing. I mean, you could go and look at all the stats, and they're number one in every category, just about. But you just have to watch him play. Nobody's playing faster and more physical. I mean, and then the thing I think that Dre has, you got to give him credit for. I mean, he used to play a little bit out of control. He'd be a little late to the party. He'd get the flag thrown. He was, that kind of stuff. And
bad flag in Chicago. Bad flag in Chicago.
Yeah. Okay. But that was, I don't see, you're right. But that used to be pretty weakly with him a year ago. I don't see that from him now. I feel like he's playing as fast as ever, seeing things lickety split, but he's not out of control. And so there's a little bit of a fine line there, especially for linebackers, because they want to hit everything that moves. But, everybody's got their flag, in their hands here in this league, so you don't need that coming out. But I'm with you. I think this group plays literally, that kind of sounds silly, downhill. Where else are you going to go to make a tackle? But they do come after you. The three of them, Freddie and Hufanga and Dre. And when they come after you, they don't miss.
You know what I think, Balding, might be one of the best attributes the 49ers defense has showed us early going here as a parade of roughing the passer flags have come out. As aggressive a defense getting to the quarterback as you're going to find has not drawn many of them. I mean, they really haven't. For a team that gets after the quarterback, they do it within the frame of a rule book, which obviously is up for interpretation by the play. What do you think of the latest round of roughing the passer epidemic that we went through in week 5? And how do you think the 49ers have yet to join this conversation, considering they're so aggressive?
Well, I mean, I think it was a complete overreaction last week, whether it was Grady Jarrett or whether it was Chris Jones or even, what Sauce Gardner did, on the opening play against Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, I just think it was a complete overreaction. The rules are in place for what they can do. I've seen, and to the players' credit, and 49ers and Aaron Donald, some of these guys that get to the quarterback, I mean, they've adjusted the way they hit quarterbacks. And that's what kind of bothered me about the Grady Jarrett tackle, is that what's happening now, Bosa does this, Aaron Donald does this, they get to the quarterback, they take him down, but they throw him across their body. So that literally their body isn't the first thing, the quarterback's body is the first thing that hits the ground. They roll them over on the ground over themselves. It's like what you would do to your brother when you're, at summer camp. Like you would, you wouldn't exactly throw him into the Buick. You might just kind of roll them down on the ground, roll them over you. I feel like players have they're adjusted. I think there's a way to do it. I think there's a way to, like I saw Max Crosby, hit Patrick Mahomes the other night. I thought I was watching the Pro Bowl. Like he just wrapped him up and whistle blew and they let him go. And I thought that's why they stopped the Pro Bowl, because that's how people were tackling. Like we can't have that. We got to take these guys to the ground. There's too good of athletes that will escape you if you do that. So I feel like the 49ers have been coached to understand the rules. You can't go below the knee. You got to stay off the head. Don't leave at the crown of your helmet. I just feel like they have watched a lot of film. I'm just guessing. I don't know that for a fact. I bet you they've watched a lot of film, a lot of hits have been flagged, and they've learned from it. Because you're right, they're not guilty of those infractions, but I think there's a reason why.
Yeah, you can see it. You can absolutely see it. They're thinking about not just getting to the quarterback. It's not a singular mindset. It's a get to the quarterback and don't draw the penalty. The guy that's really amazing to me when I watch him, the way he can contort his body at 250, is Samson Ebukam. Ebukam literally gets parallel to the line to the ground, and he's just a freaky athlete. When you watch Atlanta and Jake Matthews at left tackle and their right tackle is the UW Husky Caleb McGarry, how do you see them standing up? Even if Bosa can't go, let's say, how do you see them standing up against the Niner edge rushers?
It's not a great matchup for the Falcons. It just isn't, because what you're describing, Drake Jackson has a lot of it too, is these guys that can their ankles just bend. They're just flexible. Not everybody can do it. I mean, they can literally turn a corner at a 45-degree angle and not face plant. Not every athlete can do it. In fact, some are just really stiff, and that's kind of what I think the two tackles for Atlanta. They're big. Both of them are 6'6", 6'7". They're both big, but I don't think they bend particularly well. And that will be a problem for them when they get guys that can really turn the corner, like a European sports car. When they turn it like that, it gives them problems. And what they have to concern themselves with and not being in a position where it looks like they're taking them to the ground. And that's when the flag could come out on offensive tackles.
If he were a European sports car, he wouldn't be a European sports car. He'd be a truck. Brian Braldinger joining us here on 95.7 The Game. So, look, maybe the most interesting thing that happened on Thursday Night Football last night was Al Michaels, taking a shot. Daniel Snyder right in his crosshairs. And it feels like, Al has always had a wider berth than most broadcasters since he's the top of the food chain. But for him to levy the concept of, they don't even really want to vote Daniel Snyder out. They would just like him to sell. It feels like somebody said, Al, you go ahead and you make sure you put that on the broadcast. Do you think there is a slow-moving coup against the Washington Commanders owner?
Well, I think they've been going after him for a long time, Damon. What Al did last night, we've never heard a broadcaster do before, about anything in the league. Normally, that's a pretty strong statement that Al made last night, as you referenced. But I feel like this has been going on and on and on. And, Dan Snyder has dug his heels in. And he fought getting the name changed. He's fought, his role with the team. And I don't think this is his lifetime dream. He grew up a Washington fan, watching it with his family. And I don't think that he's going to be pressured into selling. But if they keep coming after him the way they keep coming after him, I don't know that he's going to have a choice.
You're going to be doing Buffalo and Kansas City, and I know you're probably partial to Kansas City, but I like Kansas City in this game. I just like the way Kansas. I just love watching Andy Reid call plays. I just feel like when they need to show up, they do. This is a game they need to show up. But I wanted to ask you specifically about the two quarterbacks. You got Mahomes and you got Allen. If you were building your team, do you see one as better than the other? Are they 1 and 1A? How would you compare the two?
Well, I'm a little partial. I think I did Patrick Mahomes' first start at Texas Tech. I was doing Big 12 games back then. I spent a lot of time in Lubbock back in those days. He's my favorite player in the league. I think he's the best player in the league. There's nothing not to absolutely love about Josh Allen. What he did to Pittsburgh last week, I've never seen an opposing quarterback ever do to Pittsburgh. Like, he just rifled them, making Pittsburgh look like the JV in that game, and that's hard to do to that franchise. But I would take Patrick Mahomes over every player in the league at any position. He's just the best player. Like, nobody. But to their franchise's credits, I think Josh Allen is the perfect fit in Buffalo. He understands the fan base, the city, what they're chasing, the history, and Kansas City is just embraced Mahomes. He's done the same. Like, they're just webbed in the fabric of their communities, and they just know how to act. They don't have to try. They're just perfect fits for what they do.
Full slab of baby backs or the pulled pork? What's your first round draft pick?
Well, here's the thing, Damon, is I'm getting there early. I know that. You want to see Mahomes in the field, like he's down there talking to the trainers and all the equipment people 4 hours before kickoff. You want to say hello to them, you got to get there. But, the tailgaters are there 6 hours before. And I just got to know these tailgaters over the years. So I just go up to them and what's on the grill? Like, I'm sampling. I'm sampling the whole time. Like, nice. I don't have to go to a restaurant. I'm just going to the parking lot. And I'm just going to, just sort of welcome myself.
That's the way to do it. And
Seriously,
I'm sure you're going to be, how cool is it? We're having a tailgate, and here comes Brian Baldinger. What I think we need is a Baldy breakdown on some grilling techniques.
There's no doubt. I mean, some people like the rub. Some people have their sauce. Some people do things differently to the brisket. I mean, there's a lot to break down when it comes to barbecue.
Baldy, you are the man, and you're the man to do it. Thank you so very much for joining us. Have a safe trip, brother.
See you, Larry. All right, Damon. Enjoy the game this weekend.
Thank you so much. One of the best.
Good dude.
That's the guy right there, Brian Baldinger. Thank you so much for joining us, Brian. Somebody here, Red Eye, on the YouTube chat page says, the new sack method is grabbing a quarterback by the waist. I was going to say grabbing a quarterback by his hips and then rolling, kind of slinging him to the ground.
Bosa did that 2 weeks ago to Stafford. You saw that.
Well, he also jumped on top of him and rode him to the ground, too. That was an awesome where he just wrapped around and came untouched to Stafford. But this is what I think is going to cause more concussions and get more quarterbacks hit or hurt, I should say, than if you just let them take a oomph sack. That swinging, whipping down to the ground by the hips is where the neck generates all that force going backwards. And these guys aren't getting concussed helmet to helmet. They're getting concussed helmet to the back of the turf. They're just slamming their heads because they're being whipped down, not hit down.
I'm just so tired of this whole discussion. The strike zone for these poor D linemen is just tiny.
Right.
And think about this job description. You got 320-pound athletic offensive linemen chopping at your knees at every play. If you get to the quarterback once a game, you're like the best D lineman in the entire league.
Right. And you get nipples to the thighs is your hit zone.
You hit him up in the shoulders. It's like, hey, awfully close to the head. You hit him beneath the knee. Oh, you can't go low in the quarterback. We're at a point where almost we are legislating hits on the quarterback out of the game altogether. And come on, man, that's not the game. I get it. They're the meal ticket. They're the people tune in to see. But I'm done with the protection of these quarterbacks. Enough. We're acting like defensive linemen. Hassan Ridgeway is like 6'5", like 330. He's not a ballerina. And, he's not even Brandon Ayuk. He doesn't have that level of body control. So I just think that we're making the job description impossible for defensive linemen. I think it's grossly unfair. I mean, heck, by the way, Brady got fined on that Grady Jarrett thing for kicking Grady Jarrett.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Yeah. What was the I didn't see the number, though.
It's $12,000, I think.
No, Brady's got that in the couch.
Brady's got it. I mean, and if he doesn't have it, he can get it from his supermodel ex-wife.
What do you mean, like in alimony? Is she going to pay him, by the way?
Right. Of course. She makes a lot more.
She's worth like $400 million.
He's getting an alimony check. Just the idea of that.
I don't know if it works. I don't know if it works in Florida like that, or if you still. I don't know, but
some goes to DeSantis. Maybe I don't know.
It's yeah. I got to fly these people to Martha's Vineyard. But look, it is really. Isn't it extraordinary that a couple like that could have lasted as long as they did, and then one more football season is officially the breaking point? Like, I guess she's really sick of the NFL. I mean,
well, and I don't know. I have no idea of the inner workings of their relationship.
I do. She called me last night.
There are some people that they're on the road all the time, and suddenly when they're not on the road all the time, they realize they like being on the road all the time. You see some of these broadcasters, former players, and especially in like baseball or basketball where they're on the road a lot. You want to be on the road a lot? You want to be away from your family a lot? Some guys love it on the road.
Broadcasting by nature is a selfish act. I think what I have to say is so important that I'm going to literally make a career out of my thoughts. Like right there, the ego on those guys. You, me. The ego, like, who the hell are you to think that you're that interesting? So it's a selfish act from Jump Street. But then if you are an on-the-road broadcaster...
5-star accommodations.
Well, that's nice, but I'm telling you, you are away from your family significantly. If you're going to be on... You know why Baldy loves going to Kansas City? He's never been married, which means he's never been divorced. He doesn't have kids. He's a single man. He's a man about town. He can go to Kansas City and he can really enjoy it. And he's not leaving anybody's dance recitals or school plays. He's not missing that weekend's Pop Warner game where your kid would have been,
he's footloose and fancy free.
Oh, I'm jealous.
I mean, seriously. He's living it. He's done it the right way.
You and I... Not footloose, nor fancy free.
Well, you really aren't. I've got, at least my kids are grown up.
You are almost going to get back to the honey. It's just the two of us.
Yeah, you're
still. Jillian and I got like 18 years.
Yeah, you're still pricing diaper genies.
We just went. Look at it this way. We've gone through the first one. We just had the second diaper genie arrive.
You're still dreaming of Caillou marathons to get down.
Again, I don't even know what that is yet. I'm afraid I will understand it implicitly sooner or later.
He's a whiny kid with no hair who's just annoying as hell.
Okay.
Caillou.
To bring it back to the 49ers and
that's
just
a segue.
How well they are coached. It is kind of amazing that the most getting to the quarterback and his team we've seen them have in a really long time in an age of you're hardly allowed to touch quarterbacks. Have the 49ers even drawn a roughing the passer yet?
Yeah, they have. I know they have. I remember watching it. I don't remember who it was, but they have gotten one.
Considering it's only one out of
many, Hugh, maybe? I forget.
Out of multiple, I'm talking multiple game pressures from like 7 different guys. The 49ers are doing an incredible job playing to the tone of this rule book.
They know the rules, and they're coaching them up.
Being wildly aggressive all at the same time.
I mean, now coaching, Damon, is not just about technique. It's about the officials and how to avoid the penalties. That's as much as coaching as it is coaching up the techniques. But yeah, the 49ers, by the way, Bosa is so elite that he's far and away number one. But on most teams, Ebukam's a number one pass rusher. Charles Omenihu could be a number one pass rusher. Drake Jackson someday is going to be somebody's number one pass rusher. They're all on the same team.
And we haven't seen him very much this year. Eric Armstead started playing up to his draft pick. I just thought last year, especially in the second half, a guy that I always thought was a touch overrated finally put it out on the field, and he was devastatingly good at times. Eric Armstead was. So, yeah, there's so much talent that the 49ers bring. How much of it are they going to be able to bring due to injury against the Atlanta Falcons and just how committed the Falcons are to the running game? Mariota's not going to be a drop-back target for them to even get to very often. And then when he's back there, he's mobile. So you're not hitting a stationary target. You've got fewer reps at a mobile target just based on the way Atlanta plays. They do not throw the ball very often. So that is going to take away one of the biggest strengths of this defense.
And Baldy said Pitts was going to go, but from what I had heard, Pitts wasn't going to go. So maybe we need to look into that. That's a big one.
It is big.
Kyle Pitts is kind of like a jumbo wide receiver playing tight end. If he's going, you must account for Kyle Pitts. He'll bust you down the seam, and if they can get him isolated on a linebacker, heck, the Niner linebackers probably could run with Pitts, but most of the time that's advantage Pitts.
See here, Xfinity mobile text line. Larry, what about Coco Melon? Do you know Coco Melon?
No.
Coco Melon is a nursery rhyme childhood sing-song show that was put on earth by Satan himself.
Oh, really?
Satan's snake-forked deviled tongue is Coco Melon. It's the most annoying
I say most annoying. There was Teletubbies.
No, this is worse. This is worse because
Barney.
Remember Barney? It's saturated in just like whiteness.
Teletubbies is like foreign invaders going to take over our planet. Teletubbies scared the hell out of me.
Teletubbies scared the hell out of like the religious South. Remember when you were saying the purple one's gay? What? What?
Great. That's all we need.
I had no idea.
Let's leave the purple Teletubby alone.
Seriously. Anyway,
we got to talk Caillou Marathon. Seriously.
During the commercial break, or should we torture the audience?
And I'm going to make sure I recommend my favorite Chinese place in the city for you.
And we'll even maybe let Larry drop that on the air before it's all said and done. We need to make sure she's still open because it's been a weird couple of years. We do have room for it because we will have a food report.
Nice.
We are going to fade the public this Friday, so don't you miss that. And we're coming back with what is nothing short of the longest commercial-free segment of your entire afternoon. So come on back with us here. It's Damon and Ratto with Larry Krueger in this Friday afternoon. It is fantastic to have him here, and we got more coming up on 95.7 The Game, brought to you by Fremont Bank. Full service banking, no compromises.
Dr. Trudy Fleer here with the 5G Home Recovery Podcast. Let's discuss a very real existential threat to internet speed. It's a big one. Ready? T-Mobile Home Internet. It lags. Ugh. Now, what is lag? Lag is a delay in data being transmitted across the internet. For example, you're hitting that hot drop, the parachute cuts out, you've got an unsuspecting bot in your sights, and lag! You were actually eliminated 10 seconds ago. Nobody deserves that. So stop letting T-Mobile Home Internet ruin everything and switch to Xfinity. Learn more at xfinity.com/TMOFax.
Get an amazing value on Xfinity Internet with unlimited data included. Switch for $55 a month for 2 full years with no annual contract required and no equipment fees for 24 months. Go to xfinity.com/TMOFax, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store to learn more. Requires paperless billing and autopay. Ends 10/17/22. Restrictions apply. New fast internet and xFi Complete customers only. xFi Gateway required. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. After 24 months, regular rates apply to all services and devices.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS or go online at carsforkids.org to donate today.
1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. KARS, Cars for Kids. 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you may be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut through the red tape and get you the money. The team of tax attorneys we have put together are highly trained in this little-known payroll tax refund program. We do all the work, charge not a dime up front, and simply share a percentage of the cash that we get for you. Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that had increases in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to GetRefunds.com, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to GetRefunds.com. That's GetRefunds.com.
Your most valuable asset is your time. So why should buying a car eat up your whole day? At BMW of Fairfield, we value your time as much as you do. So once you've decided on your next car and how you want to buy it, we'll have you behind the wheel of your ultimate driving machine and on your way home within 1 hour. There is a better way. Experience it for yourself at BMW of Fairfield. One price, one person, 1 hour.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-200-1966. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-200-1966. That's 800-200-1966 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-200-1966. 800-200-1966.
Hey, it's Tiki Barber. When part of your offense isn't firing on all cylinders, it shows. And sometimes the only solution is to replace that part with something new. It's true on a championship team, and it's also true with cars. That's why I love eBay Motors. They have all the right parts at the right prices. 122 million of them. That way, you can get the parts you need to make your car a winner. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Are you seeing the telomeres here? Come here, look at the scope.
Dr. Ocasio's lab startup just discovered a gene therapy breakthrough.
The cells have already doubled.
He needs a fleet of research assistants before this breakthrough breaks them.
We need lab techs, research assistants.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Now back to Damon and Ratto, brought to you by BMW Fairfield on 95.7 The Game.
All right, we got an awful lot coming up over the next 45 minutes here on 95.7 The Game. It's Damon and Ratto with Larry Krueger in this Friday afternoon. We will have a food report, and there were just a couple of things that I was going to bring up. Larry officially has a pot-sticking recommendation for us before it's all said and done.
Pot sticker.
Pot sticker. Yeah,
That's
not
right.
pot sticking. Although you can recommend those too.
Yeah.
But look, we have an awful lot to get to in the next 45 minutes. If you miss anything that we do, if you missed either of the interviews today with Dave Archer, who was fantastic, breaking down a little 49ers and Falcons, and then Baldy breaking down everything, we have it's all for you on the Odyssey app. You can download it today wherever you download your apps, which is pretty much universally the internet. So go to the internet, get the Odyssey app, and I'll stop bugging you about it. The 49ers are down a significant number of starters, which I think, look, if this defense, Larry, dominates this Sunday, like, I'll go ahead and join you in the conversation that, God bless Lucas. He was, what should we talk about this week? He's like, why don't you ask the audience if they think this might be one of the best 49er defenses ever? And I'm like, well,
sorry, I didn't mean to laugh.
I feel like
it's
the
a
audience.
Great question, honestly.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Do you think it is?
Well, I think it's week 5. That's the thing. Like, I think we had played 5 weeks to that point, and trying to declare something maybe the best ever in week 6 feels a little premature to me. But
you know what? The one thing that needs mentioning, though, it's amazing when you think of like the '85 Bears. They didn't lose anybody. Like the Niners lose somebody every day, every game they lose somebody.
Yeah.
'85 Bears. The front four was the front four. The backers were the back. I mean,
they lost Jim McMahon for a couple weeks. That was about it.
Yeah, it's amazing how guys fall and go down, and now they're never to be heard from again. Where '85 Bears were as physical a defense as I've ever seen. I think the guys that started in week 5 and week 6 were there for the Super Bowl.
The 49ers have an epidemic in terms of. Here's the one thing I can promise you: someone in Atlanta is playing their final game of the season. There is a season-ending turf. There is a season-ending injury to a Niner every time they play a football game. Yeah, knock on wood. Hopefully, it's not so.
Is this wood?
I dare them. It's
for Micah.
That's definitely not from this earth material. I don't know what that is. But look, this is a 49er defense that should they dominate this Sunday, and then, of course, next Sunday against Kansas City is the ultimate, football test of how good your defense may or may not be.
No doubt.
But if they go and they literally manhandle to the tune of they didn't score 17 points either, without Bosa, without Kinlaw, without Eric Armstead, without Ward, without Mosley, without Azeez Al-Shaair, if they literally go into Atlanta and just hold the Falcons to a less than expected run total, a less than expected point total, well, now all of a sudden, the dominance of this defense, I do think you can start saying you can count on it almost week to week.
I'm really eager to see if the Falcons can run the ball. Because the one thing in this game, if the 49ers get a lead, the Falcons with Pitts out and Cordero out are not really built to come from behind. So the Falcons have to keep it close on the scoreboard. If they do, this is going to be a head knocker, a game that I think is far closer than I think the outcome will be if the Falcons can run it for the entire game, that's going to be a problem. But if the 49ers can get up by 10, get up by 2 touchdowns, get up by more, somehow have a big first half, I think this could be a blowout of huge proportion because Atlanta, I don't think, can hold off this Niner front, and I don't think they got the kind of weapons to come from behind in the air.
They are running for 165 yards per game, are the Falcons. That is the 4th most in the NFL. I was reading in The Athletic, a guy named Josh Kendall, who covers the Falcons for The Athletic.
Talked to him earlier this week.
He said that Tampa put 9 in the box. Shout out Krueger.
Thank you.
Tampa put 9 in the box, and Atlanta ran it. Being dared to throw, the Falcons ran it. And after the Bucs took a 21-0 lead with 6:09 left in the third quarter, the Falcons still ran the ball 18 more times for 100 yards. The Falcons' first scoring drive of the afternoon was 6 plays, 43 yards, all running plays. Their second scoring drive, which took a leisurely 5:11 off the clock, this is with a 2-score deficit being on the scoreboard, 7 plays out of 12 to reach pay dirt were still running plays. The game plan is right there in front of you. They are going to run the ball, and the game's play-by-play sheet on those runs described all of them as up the middle. They're not looking to go off tackle. They're looking to run tackle to tackle and right at you. The Falcons have the second best rushing EPA, that is expected points added in the second half, at 11.26, which is triple their full game expected run EPA. In other words, they're so committed to the running game that they don't come off it for nothing. And the 49ers better be ready for all of that. Their defensive line is going to be tested and tested again. And when you think, well, of course they're going to start throwing it now, they're not.
And look for the run coming off the offensive right side because, you got Drew Dahlman at center, and then at right guard is probably their best lineman, Chris Lindstrom, who played at BC, big, powerful guy, went in first round, and then Caleb McGarry is, those are their three best run blockers. So if you're going to, especially in short yardage, they're going to run to the right. That would be the defensive left side. So we shall see. I also think it's going to be a big day for the 49ers. They're a little depleted here without Azeez. Can Oren Burks, step up? He was, thought to be a special teamer, but they play base offense, and that means he's going to be on the field a lot. And he was on the field a lot last week. So they need Oren Burks to make some plays against the run.
Well, and they're going to need Hufanga to just whatever you're doing this year, keep it up.
Right.
Keep it up in this game for sure. The Falcons do have a three-headed monster, and it's not three running backs because Marcus Mariota is part of this three-headed rushing attack, really. It's Tyler Algier, who is the rookie, who has been promoted to RB1 with the injury to Cordero Patterson. He's getting 4.7 yards per carry. You got Caleb Huntley, 4.9 yards per carry. Marcus Mariota, 4.2 yards per carry. Their fourth string back, Avery Williams, who was like a healthy scratch.
And he was a corner at Boise. Now he's a running back.
6.9 yards per carry.
Yeah, he's a burner.
Small sample size, but it is. It's guys who pick up yardage. It's guys who fall forward. It's a team that is more than committed to running the game. So look out, 49ers. That's where it is coming from. And if there's one team that does a great job of picking up and shutting down tendencies, it's D'Amico Ryans in this defense. So making the Falcons play left-handed is getting a big lead and then daring them to the point where they throw the ball that they actually do. Now, here's something that I think is maybe an indictment on how little the 49ers are getting out of one of their more electric players in the passing game, but is also a testament to how much a rookie is showing up in a passing game that really isn't much of a passing game. So Drake London, here are his stats on the year. The rookie at it. Fight on, Lucas, fight on. Drake London, who, by the way, big boy, 6'4".
Yeah, big
6'4".
receiver, definitely not a burner, though, not a speedster, but it doesn't matter. They'll throw it to him when he's covered.
Jennings,
Yeah, kind of like a better version of Juwan.
What if I told you he is an equal version of Deebo Samuel right now? Just based on, maybe not stylistically.
Different players, but yeah.
But the number?
Production-wise.
Drake London, 22 catches, 266 yards, 2 touchdowns. Deebo Samuel, 20 catches, 266 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's put up the exact same season.
Except Deebo also has rushing stats.
Exactly, which Drake London doesn't. But I wonder how many rushing stats Deebo is going to have this week based on why would you want to put him in position to take more hits if unnecessary? And we all know that Jeff Wilson Jr. is getting the job done. We all know that Ty Davis-Price is going to be available this week, and how much Shanahan turns to a rookie to be that secondary or complementary back, we don't know right now because Tevin Coleman is back in the mix. And to me, I would be milking all three of those cows before I took Deebo and tried to turn him into a bell cow, anything in the backfield.
Yeah. Tevin looks terrific, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, he really looks good. I mean, his body's healthy.
He's fresh. He's rested.
Yeah, exactly. And, that makes a huge difference. He's fresh. He's rested. He's tough. He knows the offense. And
he might have a little axe to grind in Atlanta.
Exactly.
Revenge game.
He probably does have a little axe to grind, but just talking to him, you can see why Shanahan likes him. I mean, he's tough. He's a tough guy, and Wilson is too. So it's going to be interesting how they run the ball. I'm also interested to see, is Danny Gray going to be up? Because, the 49ers on this fast surface, Jimmy doesn't throw the deep ball like Trey. Trey connected with Danny Gray in the preseason. We've yet to see Jimmy connect with Danny Gray, but Danny Gray has got unbelievable speed, and on a surface like this,
we don't even know him yet.
Yeah, this would be the game that I would like to see, him be up, active, and have Garoppolo connect with him down the field.
Brandon Ayuk is sitting around talking about the fact that the 49ers are starting to play better, but they're not even close to playing their best yet this year.
I think we've always known the answer. It's always. We feel like it's always been us. Whenever we take a loss, we always feel like within the film, like there's stuff that we did, just little things that we got to clean up. And when we've yet to play a perfect game. We talk about in the receiver room, when we play a perfect game, we've yet to play our best game. Offensively, I feel like we feel the same way. Defensively, they're playing great, but I'm sure they'll tell you the same thing. So we're just looking for that as the season goes along to continue to get better and better and better. Look up and be right where we want to be at.
By the way, I think a lot of people would just assume that that's an awful lot of cliche. Like, the other team doesn't beat us, we kind of beat ourselves. But I actually think that there's a ton of truth to that when it comes to how the 49ers go about failing on a football Sunday. I rarely see them taking the brunt of a beating as much as I see them, just hurting their own chances to win with self-inflicted wounds. More on that in just a second. Real first, though, let me welcome everyone to your 5 o'clock hour.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live on Twitch, YouTube, and the free Odyssey app. Damn well better be free.
So, Brandon Ayuk is, let me, one more time, just the beginning of that.
I think we've always known the answer. It's always. We feel like it's always been us. Whenever we take a loss, we always feel like within the film, like there's stuff that we did, just little things that we got to clean up. And
I'm going to cut him off right there because that's the part of the bite that I wanted. I agree with him. Like, I don't think that that's false bravado. I actually agree with him. When the Niners are at their worst, it's usually a self-inflicted wound with a terrible turnover that leans more towards Niner mistake than it does great defensive play. So I actually agree with him. And if the Niners can play clean this weekend, I think they're going to have a very good weekend. Somebody here on the Xfinity Mobile text line says, oh my guys, you guys pump up the other team every other week. Mariota is known for all of his turnovers. This game should go the 49ers' way easily. Look, I'm sure Tampa thought that, right? This is a team that lost to Tampa by 6 points just last week. This is a team that has been in a one-score game every week of the year. The Falcons might not be ready to go primetime player, but they're no pushovers.
They've covered every game.
They're the only team in football that's covered every game.
And they kind of show that they're willing to stick to the run even if it costs them the game. I'm not saying they're not playing to win, they're playing to stay close, but their run game keeps them close week after week. As far as Ayuk goes, Ayuk needs to step it up. I mean, this guy was a first-round draft choice. It's time for him to step up and have a big game. I mean, has he had a 100-yard day in a long time? When was the last time he had a 100-yard day? He had a game play this last game where he's on the totally wrong side of the formation. Garoppolo's clapping his hands, pointing at him, directing him to the other side. Then Shanahan was forced to call a timeout. Garoppolo stared him down for about a 5 count. That's okay if you're Danny Gray and you're a rookie, but you're not a rookie. This guy's been in the offense for a while. The thing that I'm looking for in this game that's going to be interesting to me is A.J. Terrell, their number one corner for Atlanta, has traveled with the other team's best receiver. He doesn't just play the right side or the left side. He goes wherever that best receiver is. He traveled last week with Mike Evans. Who do you put him? Who do they put him on? Dean Pease put him on in this game. Does he put him on Ayuk, who's more of the downfield threat? Does he put him on Debo? Because then it's kind of tough to travel with Debo because Debo's in the backfield, Debo's in the slot, Debo's all over the place. So I'm looking to see who matches up with A.J. Terrell, and I'm looking for Ayuk to play a clean game. Catches in the right spot. I know the formation, know where you're supposed to get lined up. Don't cost your team timeouts. It's time for him to step up and lead.
And there is a rookie corner to pick on. D. Alford is getting more and more run with the Falcons over just the last couple of weeks. So
he's a CFL guy.
I'm wondering if Kyle Shanahan isn't already circling where he is on the field as an attack point.
Right. And you heard Archer talking a little bit about their safeties. The one thing about the Falcons, they got really good safety play. Richie Grant, Central Florida guy, Jalen Hawkins, who played at Cal. Those are good young safeties. I mean, this is actually a really kind of an underrated secondary with A.J. Terrell and then Richie Grant and Jalen Hawkins and then the veteran Casey Hayward. So,
well, what they don't have is much of a pass rush.
They don't have a ton of pass rush, but they have. He mentioned, Baldinger mentioned Ebiketie and D'Angelo Malone, which is a great name, D'Angelo Malone. But both those guys are fast, really fast, coming off the edge, and maybe you'll see Dean Pease. The one thing about Dean Pease, He's a veteran. He will give you a bunch of different looks. He'll show blitz when he's not. He's going to drop guys. Other times, the guys are going to walk up at the last second and blitz. So he will be very multiple in what he does pressure-wise.
888-957-9570. We're going to take some calls here in just a second. If you're holding right there, we're going to come to you in just a second. Here's one other thing that Brandon Ayuk put on the table today over at the Greenbrier when he basically said Jimmy Garoppolo stepping back into the room, for him anyways, took a little bit of time to readjust to.
When he came in the Seattle game, we were able to still kind of do some of the things that we wanted to do. But, you always got to have the chemistry. You always got to work on things throughout the week. That's why we've always put a big emphasis on practice. I felt in the past couple of weeks, being able to be out there with him again, it's been huge for all the receivers, just getting back used to him. And, it's a little different from route to route between Trey and Jimmy on where the ball might be or where you're expecting the ball to be. So.
Well, look, over the last couple of games, Jimmy Garoppolo has played very well. 2 games combining for 492 yards with 3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. So whatever Jimmy is on right now, whatever that track is, whatever he ate for breakfast last couple of Sundays, I hope he has the exact same breakfast as he's getting ready to play Atlanta, because guess what has never happened in Jimmy Garoppolo's 49er career?
Oh, I know.
And, oh, by the way, just to let everyone know, it's all symmetrical. This is Jimmy's 49th start for the 49ers this weekend. 49th start for the 49ers.
51st if you count the playoffs or something like that?
We're just regular season over here. That's how it works. And he started, 3 times? 3 times for the Patriots? So 3 Patriot starts. Or 2 Patriots starts.
Maybe 2. I think 2, yeah.
2 Patriot starts. So, 51st NFL start, 49th with the 49ers. But what he has never done 3 weeks in a row is play a clean game in the same season anyways.
Without throwing a pick.
Over Jimmy Garoppolo's entire 49er career, he's never gone 3 straight games without an interception in a single season, a total clean sheet. Sunday, should he be interception-free, would be his first 3-game streak without an interception in the same season. He did finish his final game of 2019 without an interception, and then played the first 2 games of the 2020 season without an interception. So he's never gone 4 in a row without an interception, but he's never gone 3 in a row in a single season. There was a wraparound for the only 3-game clean sheet stretch of his entire career.
And he almost threw one last week. I mean, the guy dropped it.
He almost threw 2 last week. If you want to consider he hit one guy in the chest, he dropped it, and then another ball got bounced in the air, and, thank God no one was around it when it fell back to the earth. But a clean game out of Jimmy, it almost automatically, that alone, puts the Niners into the win column.
Yeah. I think under Shanahan, they're like 19-2 when the Niner quarterback doesn't throw a pick. Something like that. It's a really gaudy record. So the thing with Jimmy is, he is what he is, right? He'll make a play every now and then outside the numbers. He'll make a play every now and then down the field. But for the most part, he operates within the numbers and, within, let's say, 15, 20 yards of the line of scrimmage. He doesn't challenge a lot outside the numbers. He doesn't challenge a lot down the field. And but one thing I've liked about him the last couple of weeks is, man, in these middle of the field throws, he's letting it rip. He's not tentative, and these are difficult throws.
These aren't change-ups.
These aren't change-ups. Also, there's nothing soft about any of these throws. I mean, the windows are small, and the ball's coming out pretty much on time and with pretty good accuracy. In at least this last game. The game before, he's gotten a little bit more accurate each game that's gone on. That first game against Denver, he was circus.
I spraying it everywhere.
I don't even know. Even the balls that he completed, they were not accurate. He might have been accurate like 3 balls all night. But since that point, he's gotten a little bit better. But he's not hesitant right now. He's letting it rip in the middle of the field.
Yesterday at the Greenbrier, Jimmy was talking about how the shoulder injury maybe is a blessing in disguise for him. Well, it brought him back home to the nut. Without a shoulder injury, he's probably not even here. So there's that element of it. But then he said it was actually an opportunity for him to work on, to basically make every day leg day.
Yeah, especially lower body. Got to lift a little more weights in the lower body, more running, drop backs, things like that. And yeah, I think it was kind of a blessing in disguise. Got to beef up a little bit in some areas and make the best of it.
And again, maybe that's the oomph that he's putting on these darts that he's throwing in the middle of the field.
Well, that's where he operates. And, it'll be interesting to see as do NFL defenses start to adjust, because if you're going to cheat inside or outside, cheat inside. If you're going to cheat deep or short, cheat short, right? Because for the most part, that's where the ball's coming. So we shall see if he can stay mistake-free and take care of the football. I mean, to me, Damon, the one thing about the Niners, we're week 5, but they have their recipe for how they want to win games down. Jimmy doesn't make a crucial error, and they lean on their killer defense. And that's it.
Right. Don't screw it up. Control the clock. Play D.
Awesome defense. Jimmy, don't screw it up.
How do you feel about other Larrys? Do you tend to like other Larrys, or
I do,
you feel
because we're all saddled with a name that has become like a international, it's like male Karen or something. It's, in commercials, people are always beating up Larry.
Larry!
Plus, my favorite show is Curb Your Enthusiasm, and
Larry.
Susie, Jeff's wife, the way she
Susie
says
Essman?
The way she says Larry with total disdain. Larry, you're sick.
Well, Larry, this is Larry in San Francisco. Hello, Larry.
Hey, fellas, I got a question for the both of you, man. First, I love your show, man. I love the combination of you and Larry, man. It's incredible. But my first thought is Jimmy G and Tevin Coleman playing so well, it's because they're playing for a paycheck. The second thing is I want to ask you guys your personal opinion. I think D'Amico Ryans is a way better coach than Saleh. What do you think? Thanks, fellas.
Well, thanks, Larry. I mean, I don't know if I'm willing to. I mean, just as in terms of defensive coordinator, I don't know if Saleh ever had as good of a unit as D'Amico has basically stepped into his defensive coordinating career with. But I like D'Amico an awful lot, and it didn't take Robert Saleh more than 2-3 years as the Niners defensive coordinator to put his name on the top of every single NFL head coaching future, projection sheet. D'Amico's going to be there too.
To me, it's not, they're equal. I mean, it's not about the X's and the O's. It's about the Jimmy and the Joes, as they say, I mean, the Niners have talent. And when Robert Saleh had great talent, he did well. And when Robert Saleh had lesser talent or when they were injured, he didn't do as well. But I will say this about D'Amico. Right now, Damon, the 49ers have 2 D-lines that are all revved up with starters. Then they're absolutely incredible with some of these coordinated games that they're playing up front, some of the stunts. And Lowe and I talked about it last week in the pregame, the ET stunts and the TE stunts. And I mean, they're playing games, and the games are elaborate, and they're really, really well coordinated. And now you got deep line playing fast, well-coordinated games up front. Now you got D'Amico mixing in. Here comes Diamador Lenore off the slot, and here comes this guy off a blitz, and he's mixing it up, and O-linemen's heads are spinning. Now, maybe that was the Rams a couple weeks ago. We'll see about this line. It's a much better line, but there's a lot to look at up front if you're an O-lineman. You got guys coming from everywhere,
right.
And
Saleh
you got a lot of talent.
All base, almost no blitzing. D'Amico mixes it up more.
Is a lot. He's mixing it well. He's mixing it well right now. But I love Saleh too. I think I would say they're equal. But I think D'Amico will be a head coach next year.
As Larry asked us, maybe the secret sauce behind the success that Jimmy's having, Tevin Coleman's having, is the fact that they're playing for their reputations. They're playing for where the next paycheck might be coming from. Great.
It's human nature.
Yeah, look, the power of the walk year is real. It's real. It's real. And not to, in a week that we've spent way too much time talking about Draymond Green. When you talk about what could be now the silver lining of this Draymond Green incident is, even though he's not in a walk year, I think for the first time, pondering his future as a forever Warrior absolutely started pinging on his radar. And maybe he does want to go play somewhere someday and that was going to be a reality anyways. But to me, it feels that, one of the emotional strings that Draymond, who is a very emotional player, is going to be able to pull on this year is let me prove my worth to you beyond me just exercising my player option after this season. Let me show you, I dare you to walk away from a defensive player of the year, and he's going to be playing for that this year.
I thought he played exceptional and absolutely maintained total control through the entire last playoff run. I mean, can you point to the moment where he lost it in the last playoff run? You probably could.
No, I mean, if anything, his production,
felt like he had it reined in.
His production ebbed early on in what game was that, 3 or 4 in Boston,
where Steve didn't play him a little bit in the fourth.
The crowd was just riding
they
him,
were chanting "F you, Draymond,"
right. And then all of a sudden,
classy.
It's crunch time, and he goes back to Draymond, who makes 2 key plays to get the Warriors into the win column in a game where he'd basically been an afterthought.
Yeah, it's funny that one game that you're talking about. People were ripping him after that game, and I watched that game again, and I just went through it. I just made a little notation in my notebook as I'm watching. I'm just going to count every time Draymond makes the smart basketball play on either end of the floor.
He gets a check.
He got a little check mark. It was incredible the number of smart plays that he made on both ends of the floor in the game that people said was his terrible game. Oh my God, Steve sat him down. He was terrible, and the fans were letting him have it. And people were calling up radio stations saying, he was disappointing. And then you went and watched the film, and you're like, oh my God, he made that play. He made this play. He made that play. He made that pass. He made that extra pass. He made that block shot. I mean, it was incredible. So, I think you can be critical of him, but I don't think you can be too critical of his play.
Again, I didn't want to get into the Draymond group, but that's where my mind went when we talked about, the power of the walk year, the power of trying to reestablish yourself, show the league, not just your own team, but the league what your value may be. You get the best out of some players in those moments. We all know about the baseball walk year. Who didn't love Ray Durham in a contract year, right?
Well, I'll say this. I mean, I've done commission sales before, and if you've ever done commission sales, and I got great respect for people who do it, it gets you out of bed with the right frame of mind. The mind is, guess what? If I'm going to make it happen today, I'm making it happen today. And that level of aggressiveness goes away when you got a big, fat, comfy salary. And so whether you're a football player, you're selling, doors, windows, buildings, I don't care what it is. If you got a comfy, cozy salary that's there no matter what, you're not going to be as effective or as aggressive as you would be if you were solely based on, hey, I'm after that commission. So a lot of these guys that, that's the thing about the NFL. Nothing's guaranteed. I mean, the vast majority of the guys in the room have no guarantees, beyond the end of the season.
Right.
So that's why guys are flying around and playing fast, because, they're out there playing for their future.
He has played so well. We probably should shine more of a light on him than we have to this point. I know it's someone that you and I have talked a little bit about, but if we were sitting around right now just trying to come up with, congratulations, the NFL has installed a new postseason award. And that new postseason award is Best Free Agent Signing. Who was this year's best free agent signing? Not what you think he might be, but looking back on it, now that we have all the evidence in front of us, we have the entire season played, who really did make the biggest impact in terms of free agent signings? We constantly tell you what John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan might have screwed up along the way, but they made a decision here, and it's one of the best decisions I think they have ever made as, who are we going to bring in on the free agent market? Mooney Ward, Javarius Ward for the 49ers as a corner is allowing this defense to be as great as it looks week in, week out, because he is, the old saying, Dion covers, the water covers 2/3 of the globe, Dion has the other third.
Right.
This guy, I'm not saying he's Deion Sanders.
He ain't.
But
I'll say it. He ain't.
He's not Deion Sanders, but he is right up there with the NFL's current elites of defended passes. He is all over the field. As a matter of fact, the Niners push out every week this thing called the Prospector. I'll even hold it up to the camera. It's a very nice layout. The 49er PR department does a really nice job with this.
I read it every week.
Yep. It's mandatory reading. You get a little interesting factoids all over
little nuggets.
How do you guys sound so smart? Never mind.
Yeah, it's Corey.
Yeah,
Corey in PR makes us look good.
You wouldn't believe the crib notes we're reading from. Anyway, Mooney Ward set a career high with 4 pass deflections in Carolina's 4 pass deflections, with the second most registered in a single game this season. And that's when Darius Slay basically went out and he won a game for Philadelphia earlier this year. Through the first 5 weeks of the season, Ward has registered 8 passes defended through week 5, the second most in the NFL, behind only Trayvon Diggs of the Dallas Cowboys, who is regarded as one of the best corners in the game right now. He's also got one more than Sauce Gardner, who's having a monster rookie year for the Jets, and James Bradbury, who is, again, one of the premier corners in football. So he is on top of the list with the best of the best at his position, 5 games in to a brand new defense. Charvarius Ward, if he stays healthy, Larry, I think this guy is 1,000% going to be eligible for the now completely made up by me best free agent signing award of the year.
Yeah, Niner fans love him. Absolutely love him. He's big-bodied. He's smart. He's been in the league. He's got great timing when the ball's in the air. He seems like he gets his head turned, so he doesn't get that that penalty that young DBs get all the time.
Right.
He gives this defense a swagger. I think he's also
a great hand fighter.
Totally, and also he'll allow D'Amico to kind of do some other things and be creative with how he wants to use his other guys. Because Mosley was a major loss because Mosley was playing the best ball of his career, but Mooney Ward is a number 1 corner. I would say he is the best corner the 49ers have had since Dion. And Dion left after the 94 season. So it's been a while, man. I mean, we're talking about 3 decades since the Niners have had a corner like this. This is a big-bodied guy with a ton of confidence. And we said it at the end of the year, talking a lot about the 49ers, was that they needed to get better on the perimeter, especially defensively. And this guy was exactly what the doctor ordered. Really, he was the only major free agent that Lynch invested in, but what a good one.
The 49ers haven't allowed a first-half touchdown in any of their 5 games. It's the first time since 2011 that's happened. This is a defense that has just absolutely just gotten it done. I mean, they posted 6 sacks just the last week, 7 sacks against the Rams the week before. It's the first time since 1985 that Chicago's had back-to-back games with 6 or more sacks, and that number will be really hard to continue to challenge with the injuries across this defensive line. But like you've been saying, they've got 2 starting defensive lines. Their depth is the team strength, more than their running game, more than anything else. What is the 49ers team strength? Maybe even more than the word defense is overall team depth. And that is a testament that goes directly to the decisions that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, who, again, come into crosshairs for everything that they didn't do right. They've also done a lot right along the way, and that's why this team is, kind of loaded and ready to go. One more note, by the way, on Mooney Ward. You said he carries himself with a strut in that locker room.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. He's super confident. He gives the defense confidence because you feel like he's going to lock down his side. Plus, there's a lot of great number 1 receivers in this league, and to know that you got a true number 1 corner, that everybody knows. And there's no faking it on the perimeter. You can fake it at center. You can fake it at guard. When I say fake it, you can get by with a lesser guy. Heck, the 49ers were in the NFC Championship game last year. They had Daniel Brunskill and Tom Compton on the right side of their offensive line. Now, nothing against those guys. Brunskill's a good guy. Compton's a solid veteran. But those guys, Compton was a street free agent, and he was playing right tackle. Heck, the Niners just got a nice, impressive win last week over Carolina. The Carolina's got Brian Burns. They didn't have Trent Williams. They've got Jalen Moore. They're on their 3rd string left tackle. But you can't, the old football coach told me in the CFL years ago, the key to pass coverage is pass coverage. In other words, there is no key to pass coverage. You got to have guys. And that's why the Niners showed up in camp with about 8 corners. They haven't even used Jason Verrett. He's got Pro Bowl capability. So, I mean, Ambry Thomas was maybe their best corner at the end of last year. Ambry Thomas barely gets on the field, and we'll find out this weekend. Maybe he'll play this weekend. But they are exceptionally deep on the corner, And it's a great place to be deep at because when those guys all run out, man, you're a much lesser football team. Let's just say that.
Jimmy Garoppolo on Mooney Ward and the impact he's had.
Mooney's been impressive. I heard his training camp was awesome. I didn't get to see all of it, but just being out here a little bit, he's made the right stuff, and he's one of us. And it's good to have a guy like that, especially at corner. He has that ability to be physical at times, and then also just, his cover skills I think speak for themselves.
And again, the follow-up was, you say one of us. What do you mean by that?
We got a unique team. We got a different type of team, just different personalities, but all of us are pulling in the same direction, and it's just it's hard to describe. But when one of the guys fits in and when the guy doesn't, and I think those guys who don't last here very long. But when you're made of the right stuff and you're built like one of us, you'll fit in just right.
Again, Dante Pettis, not one of us. Well, what a Chicago Bear he really is, too.
The other thing about Mooney Ward, and that's what they're going to miss with Mosley, both those guys are great against the run. You saw Mosley in that national TV game come flying up and made a play against the run. They're going to miss Mosley, but they got bigger bodied guys who will hit you in the run game, and they're going to be tested on Sunday against these bigger backs.
Somebody from the 510, pardon me, on the Xfinity mobile text line says, of course, the 49ers have the best defense. They've played against the worst offenses in the NFL. Fair.
Yeah, that is fair.
Fair.
You can only play who you can play.
Exactly. And all I can tell you is that in a league that has seen, I think, more underdogs cover and win through week 5 than we've seen in a really long time, it truly is a any given Sunday league more than ever before. You can only play who's on your schedule, and every single team, as bad as they are, that's still an NFL team. And the gap between the best NFL team and the worst NFL team, I think, represents the smallest gap between the best and worst in any sport we could talk about. Certainly, Major League Baseball is the largest gap between the best and the worst. Maybe the NBA or NHL would be in there, then maybe the NBA. But to me, the difference between the worst team in the league and the best team in the league is nothing more than maybe 2-3 players or 20 plays over an entire season.
The Niners lost to the Bears. The Niners lost to Denver. Both those teams are offensively circuses, and yet the Niners lost those games. So, yeah, absolutely. Do I think the 49ers are going to win on Sunday against the Falcons? There's more ways for the 49ers to win. They can win coming off the pace from behind. They can win getting a big lead and start to finish, dominate the game. Where the Falcons, I think, can only win if they play from the lead. But I still think it's going to be a very competitive, hard-hitting game.
Two teams that want a front run. We'll see who gets there and does it first. Again, the 49ers haven't allowed a first-half touchdown yet, so hopefully they're going to be on top of the front running. By the way, one more from Jimmy Garoppolo holding court yesterday at the Greenbrier. Talked about how the reason why the Niners seem to play well as a team is because a lot of these guys have actually been together for a few seasons now, and continuity is hard to find in the NFL these days.
I think it plays a big role. Myself, just not going through the normal offseason and then, plug and play type things. I think it has an effect on game day. And I don't know, just being on the same page. We run familiar plays that we've ran in the past, whether it's from this year or years past. I think it just allows us to be moving on the same speed, same page together, and makes things smooth out here. When you do look around the league, not many teams have, especially just our core group here. I think that's a big part of a good team, is when your core group can stay together and all work in the same direction, carry the younger guys, bring them along with that. That leads to a good team, and that's what we've done here in the past couple of years.
There's a part of him that wants to end that with Kyle, but he doesn't, and that's because he's a pro.
But one other thing there, they haven't invested in a lot of free agents. That's where the camaraderie goes south, is when, you know what, you're working here, and they bring me in, and now they're paying me more, and now you're mad. And that happens over the league, all over the place. 49ers have built through the draft. They don't have a lot of free agents, guys who they're paying off the street more money than the incumbent players. So, yeah, I think there's something to that. I'll say this from being in the room twice a week, 3 times a week, the last, for this season. There's not a lot of disharmony. Bill Parcells talked about NFL locker rooms and how it can be an ugly place, when you have different guys with different factions pulling in different directions. You don't see that on this team. You just don't.
No. Look, and I've said a couple of times that whatever criticisms that the Niners go about earning week to week, one criticism I have never laid on any 49ers season since Kyle Shanahan has become head coach was that they took that day off. Like, they absolutely circled the wagon somewhere in the third quarter, and the entire team was like, yeah, we're not even going to play hard in the fourth quarter anymore. This one's lost. We're not going to go and do our jobs anymore. I mean,
they show up.
We have seen the Raiders quit on football games. I have seen Chargers teams quit on football games. Heck, I even think I might have seen the Rams quit on a game already this year. But it's not in their DNA to ever let up. And I think that is another, again, testament to what does Kyle get right week in, week out? Well, he gets that right. Somebody says, hey, Damon, can you please credit Silver for some of your content? I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think I'm Mr. Cite My Sources.
Mike Silver?
Yeah, I'm guessing Mike Silver. I can tell you this. I don't subscribe to the San Francisco Chronicle, so I'm not reading Mike really. And I do see the stuff that he does for Bally's every now and then, but I haven't read Mike in a week or two. Maybe Mike should be crediting The Prospector like I just was. Maybe we're working off a little shared information right there. If maybe something he wrote and something I just said ring similar.
Sounds like Silver's agent is a listener of the show.
Seriously. So look,
and we like to credit Mike Silver for all of the content that we've come up with on the 49ers, because without Mike, we're nothing.
And when has Mike ever credited me for the content? He's obviously lifting from the show as an avid listener. I don't know. No, look, we love Mike.
Mike's a good guy.
If Mike wrote it, I'd tell you, Mike Silver gave this to me. I'm citing my sources. I'm telling you, I'm getting some Falcons information from Josh Kendall of The Athletic.
Yeah, well,
I'm telling you, I'm going
anything,
Prospector. I got footnotes.
Dude, you're heavy-duty bibliography, man.
Show your work.
Show your work. You got a lot of footnotes. You got pages of footnotes.
Thank you. I do. I have too many pages in front of me. I really do. So what do we got time to kind of circle around here, because we're getting close to the end of the week. I did want to let you know that there are a few interesting gambling trends around the NFL. We've already told you a couple of these when we were talking to Brian Baldinger earlier today. He has got Bills and Chiefs, which, let's be honest, that's the sexiest game this entire weekend, and there really isn't even a close second. I mean, Bills and Chiefs is the AFC title game. It was pinball last time we watched these two teams play. It is the definitive, no questions to be asked, two best quarterbacks, supported by two coaches who absolutely know what they're doing. So Bills and Chiefs is set up to be sexy, and this is the first time ever that Patrick Mahomes has been a home underdog. Buffalo is -2.5 at Arrowhead. The Falcons, as we've already told you, are the only team that has covered every single game this season. They're getting latest +5 against the 49ers. So you think 49ers cover the 5, Larry?
Gosh, that's really tough. Falcons have covered every game, as you said. This one, to me, I think if I had to, it's a stay away. First of all, I can't pick this one, but if I had a lean in this one, I would probably go with Falcons in the first half and the under for the game, just because I think what you said before, the Falcons under Arthur Smith are committed to the run, and they're going to stick with the run whether they get down 2 touchdowns or not. So that's going to work clock. The 49ers, we know, love to run the ball. So I'm going to say the under would be my play. And if you had to do a little something, I would say go Falcons in the first half. And I don't even know what that number is, but I could picture the Falcons being very competitive in the first half.
Meanwhile, there's a sneaky, interesting game in the NFC West. Cardinals-Seahawks. Like, this game feels bigger this week than anyone might have given it credit to being. Remember, Seattle was just supposed to lay down and damn well die this year. They haven't. As a matter of fact, their offense with Geno Smith is probably the biggest surprise in the entire league, to be quite honest with you. So that is a sneaky, interesting game. Cardinals and Seahawks. I got no gambling notes there, but that's obviously one as a Niner fan you want to keep your eye on.
2 injuries to keep your mind on in that one. Gabe Jackson, the left guard, the former Raiders, got a hip problem. He's doubtful. Big Al Woods, who goes about 360 in the middle of that defense for Seattle, he's doubtful. I think he's got some, I'm not sure what his injury is, but those are two big boys on the line of scrimmage that Seattle will be without. And I think Lockett's dinged. I'm not sure his status for that game. But these division games also, I'll tell you, if you want to get burned in the NFL, bet a ton of division games because these division games are almost always closer than the non-division games.
You know what I think we have to is just like definitive now gambling law, since the NFL has so diminished what it's trying to accomplish in its preseason. The first 4 games of any NFL season, you should just be pounding unders and underdogs, because really the first 4 weeks of the regular season are now the official kind of season tune-ups that coaches and players are getting.
Especially unders because of how few guys play in the preseason, and offensive football is about cohesion.
Right.
And so that cohesion's not there at the
in an
beginning of the year.
offensive league, with offensive coaches occupying more head coaching chairs than defensive coaches, everyone's coming under. Everyone's got a struggling offense, but for, Bills and the Seahawks, surprisingly, and the Kansas City Chiefs.
And the public loves betting overs.
You got to be fading that right now. The Colts, by the way, have gone under in every single game this season.
Jonathan Taylor is questionable in that game.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah, 42 is the over-under against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So maybe a little note to make there. And Larry, we don't do much of a gambling segment on this show. But we got one.
I like the one that you got.
This is the least amount of what the broadcaster you're listening to thinks gambling segment you're going to find on the radio. We do not pick the game. We do not pick the line. We do not pick the outcome. It is chosen for us. We fade the public on a Friday afternoon. Well, the heaviest bet team this week, and I'm going to tell you, I live in a world where any single time, Larry, you're going to give me an NFL team and 10 points, I'll take the points. I'll take the points. Well, obviously, that's the way the public thinks, because right now, the Carolina Panthers are plus 10 at the Rams. 93% of the money on this game is on Carolina with the points. The public is betting a classic bounce-back game after their head coach gets fired here. So, maybe Carolina plus the 10. They're coming out feeling, like we're going to circle the wagons this week, or just ain't going to happen.
Steve Wilkes era begins.
We all know for certain the Rams have been underachieving. Why? No one knows for certain yet, beyond an offensive line that is unproven. P.J. Walker is your starting quarterback for the injured Baker Mayfield. So our bet
is the Rams
to go 3-0 on a Fade the Public Friday. Rams minus 10. I mean, to me, I would have never chose that. But we're not choosing the game. The game chooses us. That's the Fade the Public Friday. We are taking the Rams minus 10. And let me just tell you, if the Rams would actually outright lose this game.
There's no Cam Akers, by the way.
I know, which means, well, here's the thing.
So it's Darrell Henderson.
They don't even want to run the ball. So I don't even
I know, that doesn't
care
really,
about
yeah,
that.
exactly. It doesn't really
that means whatever Cooper Kupp's in-game target total, take the over.
22.
Who is listed as questionable currently, so hopefully he plays. Also, the note on Cam Akers is a weird one. It's a personal issue. He's been away from the team for a couple days. And he's not, obviously, as you said, Larry, he's not going to be playing in this one. But Sean McVay wouldn't comment really too detailed on it. I don't know what's going on there. Could be multiple weeks that he's away.
So we are we're fading the public. We're taking the Rams minus 10, and we'll see if we don't go 3-0. By the way, there was something. Have you ever heard of the Bird Gauntlet?
No.
So the Bird Gauntlet is not available.
So like the Goose Gauntlet from Dodger Stadium? Then?
No, but there were a lot of gooses lately in sports, that being the preeminent goose.
Pito was very concerned about the future of that goose and where it went and everything.
Goose is okay. I'm going to guess right now it's doing all sorts of goosey things.
Yeah, he's in a luxury suite.
The Bird Gauntlet is rare. You need a very you need it on your schedule, and it can't appear on everyone's schedule. But the Bird Gauntlet is when you beat, and it's never happened. No one has ever run the Bird Gauntlet where you've defeated all 5 NFL teams with bird mascots.
I thought you were maybe talking about maybe sitting in the upper deck at Oracle Park for a Giants game. You know, the seagull.
Get out of the seagull ways.
Yeah, seriously. Looking down, looking up, looking down, looking up.
Falcons, Seahawks, Cardinals, Ravens, Eagles is the bird gauntlet. The Saints actually have them all on their schedule this year. And I just want you to know that the Saints are currently 2-0 through the 5-game bird gauntlet. No team has ever run the bird gauntlet, but they've got wins over the Falcons and the Seahawks, and the other 3 teams are coming up. Saints they don't have a bird gauntlet game this weekend, but we will be monitoring the bird gauntlet, because if we don't, who will?
I do like Cincinnati in that game, by the way, because Cincinnati...
That's right, Cincinnati and New Orleans this week.
Yeah, it's Jameis Winston's got a back injury. He's not going to go. So it's going to be Andy Dalton. And then I read that Marshawn Lattimore, who's their number 1 corner, and Michael Thomas, their number 1 receiver, both out. So I'm taking the Bengals.
Jarvis Landry, too. Olave is in concussion protocol, questionable.
Yeah, give me the Bengals in the Superdome.
By the way, it's a pretty sexy college football weekend. I know we don't have a lot of people who
a lot of top 25
genuflect in the direction of college football, but you got number 10 Penn State at number 5 Michigan to start your morning off. You got Cal at Colorado for those who like to suffer. The game of the day is number 3 Alabama at number 6 Tennessee. This is the biggest Vols home game since T. Martin was in Knoxville, for goodness sakes. At 12:30 again, for those who like to suffer, Indiana hosting Maryland. I can't believe you wore that shirt in here today, Larry. Shame on you. At 4:30, it's Stanford at Notre Dame. At 5 o'clock, fight on, Lucas. Number 7 USC at 20th ranked Utah. This is going to be the Trojans' biggest test of the regular season for sure. And then your Saturday night special, go Sparty.
Who do they got?
Do it for Lawrence Fan, baby. 4-1. San Jose State University is at 1-4. Fresno State, and you can watch it on FS1.
There you go. Low Neal will be reeling if his Bulldogs don't fire.
And what time do you and Low Neal get going on Sunday morning? 9 a.m.?
9 to 10. We'll be giving you 1 hour, a very quick pregame leading into Niners Falcons.
I like it. Today was a phenomenal day of sports talk radio here on 95.7 The Game. We want to make sure, though, that you're eating well this weekend, which is why we're coming back with an exclusive food report in which Larry Krueger will tell you his favorite Chinese food restaurant in the city of San Francisco.
There you go.
That's a tease, boys.
Seriously,
and girls. That's a tease.
You should stay in your freaking car for this one. That's how good this place is.
Just engine still running in the driveway.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't turn it off. That's what we're talking about next on the Food Report here on 95.7 The Game. Larry Krueger in for Ray Ratto. It's Damon and Ratto. Food Report. The most important moment of your entire day. How are you going to know to eat? What to eat without the Food Report? It's next.
Why spend hours negotiating with a car salesman to get the best price for a vehicle you want to buy? At BMW of Fairfield, we give you our very best, most competitive price right up front. By eliminating the price negotiation process, we create a comfortable environment that helps our guests enjoy an experience that's often hostile and difficult at other dealerships. There is a better way. Experience it for yourself at BMW of Fairfield. One price, one person, 1 hour.
Hey, Becky, what about this beat for your next song?
It's cool, but I'm into faster stuff lately. Like Xfinity that gives me beyond gig speeds.
Got it. What about this then?
It sounds powerful, just like Xfinity. Because its supersonic Wi-Fi has 3 times the bandwidth, you can connect hundreds of devices at once.
That's what I call power.
Unbeatable internet from Xfinity. Made to do anything so you can do anything.
Get the Xfinity Supersonic Bundle with unlimited gig speed internet, Wi-Fi equipment included, and a free 4K streaming box. All for $50 a month with a 2-year internet rate guarantee and no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data at regular rates. Go to Xfinity.com/gig, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and autopay. New gigabit extra internet customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Xfinity Mobile requires post-pay Xfinity internet. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes wireless usage. After 24 months, regular rates apply. Requires compatible Xfinity gateway.
If you're a professional builder or designer, here's some good news from Golden State Lumber. Their relationships with Capital Lumber, Cal Cascade, Humboldt Sawmill, and others have led to an increase in lumber inventory. Golden State strives to deliver most materials the next day, if not the same day. Be sure to download the Golden State app, which provides access to hundreds of resources. Find it at goldenstatelumber.com. For 3 generations, Golden State. When you succeed, we succeed.
Do you think all premium fuels are the same? Well, your engine doesn't. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus helps keep your engine running like new because it's engineered to defend against 4 main engine threats: gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. So next time, choose Shell's most advanced fuel ever. It's fuel for thought. In engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline.
Are you curious about who offers the best deals on top-rated Samsung, LG, and Sony TVs? The answer is surprising. It's not online, and it's not the warehouse clubs. The best deals on top-rated TVs are at Video Only. Don't believe it? Then check out the trade-in deals at Video Only. How about $500 for your old TV? Try doing that online. Before you buy that new TV, drop into Video Only. If you don't, you'll be sorry.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
At Right Way Garage Doors, we consider what we do inspired craftsmanship. We see our craftsmen as artists using wood, glass, and metal as their brushes, your home as their canvas, their work inspired by the vision you have for your home's first impression. Right Way Garage Doors has been delivering the highest quality work with the right value and the right customer experience for 42 years. For a limited time, save up to $500 plus get no interest financing for up to 24 months. Call 877-DOOR-808 or visit rwgaragedoors.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, an oil change with full synthetic oil like Valvoline Advance can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life oil filter for only $36.99. Find your solution for better fuel efficiency today at any of our 6,200 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Kansas City Steak Company, another AmericanEagle.com success story. Started in 1932 as a family-owned butcher shop, today they're a leading distributor of superior all-American steaks delivered right to your door, ready for the grill and your taste buds. When it came to their website, an average site wouldn't do. They chose AmericanEagle.com to take their website to the next level. With a dramatic increase in competition and a softening market demand, they had 2 challenges: improve their brand presence and message and produce a positive return. AmericanEagle.com got to work and executed usability studies and detailed audits of site experience, digital assets, and marketing. The result? An integrated digital marketing and customer experience plan, organic traffic increase of 20%, and a long-term roadmap for success. If you love great steaks, go to kansascitysteaks.com for website design, development, and online solutions that bring efficiency and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. If you need a results-driven website, call the team at AmericanEagle.com at 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
You might not have the biggest garage on the block, but with eBay Motors, there's 122 million parts right at your fingertips. Whatever you need, there's something that fits your vehicle. Air filters, tires, seat covers, and more. Get the right parts at the right prices. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Here's what happened today on The Game. Presented by the County of Santa Clara. The morning roast from 6 to 9.
John Morant company.
I'm here for it.
They're talking a lot.
Absolutely here for it.
They are talking a lot.
$7 tickets in Memphis. Not sure if you saw that.
For opening night, huh?
Yeah.
Willard and Dibbs from 9 to noon.
I want to make sure that I do not come off sounding like I would like Draymond to behave the way I would like him to behave. And this is how you behave. You fold your hands when it's dinner time.
Diney and Guru from noon to 3.
You know I don't like to draw attention to myself.
Dude, did you do it yesterday with JD? Because I
don't like to do that.
You changed this week. Go ahead. You've been fat mouthing.
And Damon and Ratto from 3 to 6.
It's going to be a big day for your theory that the Niners have 2 starting defensive lines.
Yeah.
We're going to find out this weekend.
Yeah, we are.
If your theory holds water. I really think it might.
The best of the game. Presented by the County of Santa Clara. Book a COVID-19 booster shot now at sccfreevax.org or call 211. Now back to Damon and Ratto. Brought to you by BMW Fairfield on 95.7 The Game.
Hungry?
What the did you put in that sauce? Oh, yeah. Dry and tasteless. Soft, bland, rubbery. Oh, yeah.
Super duper weenie in Connecticut.
Cream free, cafeteria free. You've only gone and given me a rancid scallop.
It's time for the Damon Bruce Food Report.
Cafeteria free.
Again, the Open's so good, we haven't even changed it to Damon and Ratto. And had we done that, I'd need to tell you that in for Ray, it's Larry, who's not just in this week. Thanks, by the way, to John Dickinson for slipping on in here on Wednesday afternoon. Larry, you're going to be back on Monday.
Look at that.
Ray, dropping a 10-day vacay on us. I'm impressed. I didn't know he had it in him. By the way, thanks to Dave Archer and Brian Baldinger for joining us today. And I want to let you know that coming up next, you got a half an hour of Best of the Game, followed by preseason Warrior pregame, and then at 7 o'clock tonight, the final preseason tune-up and the debut of Klay Thompson and the reemergence of Draymond Green. The Warriors are rolling out their starting 5. Jordan Poole coming off the bench, 6-man tonight. So it should feel like a Warriors game early on, and then I'm sure, no matter what's happening, you're going to fold the tent here on, at halftime, and it's going to be a lot of depth in the second half. But there you go. So you got Warrior preseason basketball for the final time tonight, and then on Tuesday, it happens for real. But as you heard, it's time for the food report. Larry, you have your signature Chinese restaurant that you're going to share with us. Let me quickly first give you something obnoxious, something super cool, and a chick I want to party with, and then we'll get to your Chinese food restaurant. Number 1, there is now a restaurant in San Francisco that is offering a $75 tasting menu. Hey, sounds fantastic. It's for dogs.
No.
A $75 tasting menu for dog. The name of the restaurant is called Dog, D-O-G-U-E. It opened a couple of weeks ago. It's on Valencia. And it's got pastries and cappuccinos that are served during the day and a $75 3-course tasting menu on Sundays for dogs. Passerbyers could easily confuse this for a San Francisco new all-day cafe because the glass case is filled with elegant pastries, rose-shaped cakes filled with wild venison heart and things like that. The only thing I can tell you,
if you can't finish it, do you get a person bag?
Very good.
You like that?
Very good.
Be here. Tip your waitresses 2-drink minimum. I'll be at the Chuckle Hut in Dayton on the 19th.
Seriously, but look, if you have the kind of money to have your dog eat a $75 3-course tasting menu outside of this restaurant should be a charity that you donate the exact same dollar amount to. Because if you got $75 to waste on your dog and you don't have $75 to give to a human, you suck as a human.
I'm not going to get between people and their dogs. People send their dogs to camp, to therapy, to I've seen, there's doggy daycares. When we go traveling, we send our dog to Camp Bow Wow. There's doggy hotels. There are, but people love their dogs, and I love my dog too. Penny, she's waiting for me as we speak.
But we're talking Inflation is crushing people. People eating ramen. You're getting a dog a $75 tasting menu. Like I hope you get in a car accident on the way home.
This is San Francisco. I was walking through the Tenderloin like a couple months ago. There was lines on both sides of the street. One was for St. Anthony's, and the other was for some like fusion something restaurant. I mean,
soup kitchen across from a 5-star.
I mean, it's reality.
It's
our reality in 2022.
Anyways, again, if you're going for the $75 dog tasting menu, donate generously. Guardsman.org, just throwing that out there as a charity option for you.
Will you be working the lot, the Christmas tree lot?
We're going to be doing a show from the lot.
Really?
Absolutely.
You're very loyal to the Guardsmen.
Hey, dude, they've been loyal to me. They've been loyal to the city. We make things right. Anyway, let me tell you about a chick I officially want to meet and party with. And look, I'm a happily married man. Larry, I know you are a happily married man.
Yes.
But we might have let the one we both should have ended up with get away. Because I want to tell you about a 26-year-old woman, probably a little too young for us, but boy, she is a kindred spirit. She's a San Francisco native. Her name is Kelsey Kowalski. Nice Polish girl. She got the House of Prime Rib logo. I
was just there a few weeks ago.
The chef in front of the meat Zeppelin, you know.
Yeah.
She got the logo tattooed on her leg. She said she is obsessed with the Hopper so much that just a few weeks ago, she decided to go all in, expressing her love. She got a tattoo of the logo depicting a well-dressed meat carver wearing a tall chef's hat, slicing up thick pieces of roast right from the iconic silver push carts, which I call meat Zeppelins.
Get the Yorkshire pudding, by the way.
Always get the King Cut Yorkshire pudding.
I did get the King Cut.
You have to get the King Cut. You want to know what the real insider tip is? This is once you've done...
Boneless King Cut?
No, give me the bone. What do you think we are getting King Cut for? I need the bone. The
bone can be significantly,
Flavor country. Right off that bone, Larry.
Okay,
the flavor country. Also, next time you're at the House of Prime Rib, since you've done it OG style so many different times, tell them to take your prime rib back to the kitchen and get it seared. It's got like this little.
That almost sounds like trying to do a little bit too much.
No, but here's the thing. Like as soon as you say that, they're going to be like, "I'm at a table full of locals here." That's a local move.
Reminds me of the French toast from Road Trip. You'd have to see the movie, but.
All right.
The guy goes, "Oh, it's good. It's good." If you saw Road Trip, you know what I'm talking about.
With
did you ever see Road Trip?
Tom Green.
Yeah, Tom Green.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, it's good. It's good.
Kelsey Kowalski, I want to hang with you. I want to party with you. Any girl who's got a Hopper tattoo is my kind of gal. Jillian, I'm not saying you need to be threatened, but there is someone out there who might be for me. This is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So on that note, Ray would be furious because we're already past his end time. Your favorite Chinese food restaurant in the city, Larry, is what?
Oh, no doubt. My buddy Jeff owns the place in West Portal. It's called Shu Lung. And it's XIAO is the first word, LOONG. It's on the opposite side of the street from the Empire Theater. It's further down by the B of A.
So it's on the ocean side of West Portal.
It's on the ocean side of West Portal, right next to the B of A, a couple stops up from the ATM there. And it's a tiny little place, probably like 12 tables in the entire place. My buddy Jeff owns it. The pot stickers and the chive dumplings, freaking amazing. Amazing.
The size of your fist.
Amazing. I mean, just go there. I would dare anybody to go there. They serve lunch, they serve dinner. I would challenge anybody to go there and say they didn't like it. Seriously, go there. You will love it. The pot stickers, you got to have. All right? Got to have the pot stickers.
Krueger throwing down the Chinese food gauntlet. I think I know what I might be doing for dinner tonight.
Oh, it's phenomenal. Say hi to Jeff.
Thanks to all of you for tuning in. Thanks so much to Dave Archer and Baldy for joining us today. Again, best of the game runs for a half an hour. Then we got preseason, Warrior pregame, and then at 7 o'clock tonight, the final preseason tune-up of the year. Looking forward to hearing Tim Roy back on my radio. Oh, my!
Love Tim Roy. We go
Love me some Tim Roy.
And this goes full circle. You know who broadcasted the gold miner games when I worked there and David Archer worked there? Tim Roy.
Oh, my! All right, there we go. Boys and girls, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a really, really fun week. We're going to be back at this on Monday. We will know what the 49ers did, and we'll see if the Buffalo Bills can't soften up the Kansas City Chiefs for the Niners the following week, too. So Big weekend in the NFL. Great weekend of college hoops, and we're going to be tipping off the NBA season Tuesday next week. Sounds pretty good to me. Thank you very much. Grandy, thank you. Lucas, thank you. Larry, thank you very much.
See you Monday.
Sports don't build character, they reveal it.
And like that,